Pokemon, Cynthia's fiance at the beginning. Author, Legend Love Powder. 276 Mu Lin, Sabrina, you are too straightforward! Are you Little York? Mu Lin was a little speechless and sniffed herself. Didn't she just take a shower? Why did she still smell of perfume on her body? Your clothes. Sabrina pointed to the washing machine in the bathroom. Why do I always feel that you seem to be avoiding me? I admit that I lost to Cynthia. After all, she told you. But, I know you better than Calune, so I can't compare to her. The expression on Sabrina's face is the same as usual, but the eyes are inevitably a little lost. I didn't hide from you. Besides, it doesn't matter who gets to know who first. Mu Lin rubbed his nose. Then do you hate me? Sabrina looked at Mu Lin with curious eyes. The loss in Sabrina's eyes is very distressing. It was also difficult for Mu Lin to say no, so he could only comfort him. How can I hate you? When I was in the Carlos region, I felt that you were in danger, so I came here immediately. Sabrina's eyes recovered, and even her calm face showed a joyful expression. Then you like me too, right? Hee. Mu Lin smiled awkwardly. Forget it. Forget it. Then come on. Sabrina took off the jacket she was wearing, revealing a t-shirt with Actione on it. Wait. Mu Lin quickly grabbed her hand. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stay with me, Sabrina said matter-of-factly, without any hesitation. Then what? You wait. Mu Lin took a deep breath, got up and walked to the bed. He must keep a certain distance from Sabrina, otherwise, under Sabrina's direct attack, it is easy to lose his mind. It is undeniable that Mu Lin likes Sabrina. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come from the Carlos region to help. It's just that Natu is too straightforward. This made Mu Lin a little hard to accept. After all, he is not a young man who can't walk when he sees a beautiful woman. Drink some wine, have a meal, chat, and if the atmosphere is better, everything will be logical. But unfortunately, these words are not easy to speak to Sabrina. What's wrong? Sabrina's eyes were firmly locked on Mu Lin's body, and she had no intention of letting him go. Things didn't develop like this. Mu Lin stuttered in the face of the straightforward Sabrina. What's that supposed to look like? Sabrina still looked at him without blinking. Then what? Mu Lin didn't know how to explain it. When he saw the hair dryer next to the bedside table, his eyes lit up. I just took a shower and my hair is still not dry. Wait until I finish drying my hair. Tell you. While operating the hair dryer, he was thinking about how to talk to Sabrina. While drying her hair, she suddenly felt a pair of warm little hands covering her own. Turning around, she saw Sabrina with slightly flushed cheeks. Sabrina, who has always been cool and indifferent to outsiders, showed this expression, which made Mu Lin, who is used to seeing beautiful women, also taken aback. Sabrina smiled and took the hairdryer from Mu Lin, and said softly, I'll help you. Then he put his bare hands on the sleepy head. Adjust the hairdryer to the lowest temperature, gently fiddle with the hair, the warm air avoids the hair roots, and only blows the ends of the hair. Sabrina's movements are light and gentle, meticulous, brushing through every strand of hair. Fiddled with by Sushu, Mu Lin gradually sank, closed his eyes and enjoyed it. It turns out that Sabrina also has such a gentle side. This is the right atmosphere. Ask for flowers. Okay. It wasn't long before Sabrina turned off the hairdryer. Mu Lin, who stopped abruptly, opened his eyes and looked at himself in a mirror. Forehead. Why is this a bit? At this time, Mu Lin's bangs are sticking to his forehead. His hairstyle, a bit like a mushroom head, is too tender, and his usual elegant dry. How about it? Now you and I are very similar. Sabrina happily put her head on Mu Lin's shoulder and looked in the mirror together. Sabrina is straight bangs. The hairstyles of the two are somewhat similar. I have to say that the two of them are really similar in terms of hairstyle. Now that your hair is dry, can you tell me? Sabrina turned her head and looked at Mu Lin closely. That's it. Mu Lin felt his ears itch, and turned his head just in time. This way, Sabrina has full eye contact with him. Tell me. Sabrina breathed out and looked into Mu Lin's eyes. Sabrina's pupils are very special, slightly pink. Looking at it from a close distance, it seems to carry a lake of spring water, rippling the delicate beauty of the girl. At such a close distance, Mu Lin found that his Tao heart began to gradually collapse. Talk about shit. Mu Lin printed it directly, leaving his own mark on the other's lips. Mu Lin's sudden attack made Sabrina flinch subconsciously. Maybe because she felt that the retreat just now was a bit of a disadvantage, Sabrina's eyes full of spring water turned slyly, and quickly fought back. Soon, a t-shirt with Actione on it, dropped on the floor. 277 Watari, who is bad at things, and Sabrina, who likes to do housework. Time flies like a white horse, and a week has passed since the settlement of the Mewtwo matter. Showdown Hotel, Mu Lin and Sabrina's room. Sabrina was sitting on the windowsill, reading with gusto a book called Knowledge About Housework. On the side lay clothes that were not neatly folded. Mu Lin drank his coffee and looked at the Showdown game corner under construction through the windowsill. Can't help sighing. The reconstruction speed of Kanto Alliance is really fast enough. Could it be that the Sendu Alliance is short of money? Sabrina on the side closed her book and continued Mu Lin's words. Indeed, Kanto Alliance is quite poor. When I was the director of the gymnasium in Saffron City, The subsidy issued by the Alliance every 373 years was only 3 million, which was only enough for the gymnasium's expenses. I am currently serving as the Unova region champion, and my annual salary is about 300 million Alliance coins. 3 million per year, and 300 million per year. The difference in the middle is 100 times. Although the status of the gymnasium owner and the champion is not the same, it can also be seen that Kanto Alliance seems to be really poor. Mu Lin couldn't help thinking that Xiao Gang, who is also the owner of the gymnasium, often worries about food for his brothers and sisters at home. But it's normal to think about it. Kanto region has the most powerful evil organization Team Rocket. An unstable living environment naturally reduces various investments. It's no wonder that Kanto Alliance is so concerned about Celadon Game Corner. By the way, is there any news from Du? Mu Lin asked. Sabrina shook her head. Yesterday he told me that although many rockets have been arrested, the whereabouts of Giovanni has not been clarified, including people like Archie. It seems that Normal disappeared out of thin air. The dodo bird is not doing well. Mu Lin couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Of course, he didn't expect Du to catch Giovanni, but at least he could find the rocket's hiding place. It's a pity that even this can't be done. It's normal to think about it. As the saying goes, there are 3 caves for the cunning rabbit. The rockets led by Giovanni have been rampant for so many years, and there are probably several hiding places. While the two were chatting, Mu Lin's phone rang. It's a video call from Cynthia. Mu Lin connected easily, and Xiluo's long and pretty face appeared on the screen. Although she was pregnant and was about to give birth, her face didn't get fatter at all. It was still so pretty and moving. Mu Lin. Ah, Sister Sabrina is also there. Cynthia saw Sabrina and greeted with a smile. Sister Cynthia. Sabrina smiled and waved to Cynthia. Perhaps because of being with Mu Lin, some subtle changes have taken place in Sabrina as a whole. It is no longer expressionless, cold, and indifferent. On the contrary, it has become more enthusiastic and the whole person has become cheerful. Wood Sandalwood. Did you take down Sister Sabrina? Cynthia noticed the change between Sabrina and Mu Lin even through the phone screen. Okay. Mu Lin knew that he couldn't hide it, so he didn't hide it, and just acquiesced. Calune first, and now Sister Sabrina. Someone will share my precious. Cynthia raised her eyebrows. Looking at her expression, Mu Lin could tell that Cynthia felt a little sour in her heart. Putting up 3 fingers to make an oath, expressing loyalty. What did the leader say? There are still many regions that need to be taken care of by the leader for the rest of his life. I will always remember the kindness of the leader to me. When I am away, I often miss my leader. Cynthia gave Mu Lin a blank look, satisfied with his loyalty. There is no forgetting the old just because there is a new one. But the words were not forgiving. I think you are thinking about those unopened black silk at home. Mu Lin chuckled and said, it's still the leader who knows the hearts of his subordinates best. With an undisguised attitude, Cynthia laughed. You still miss them. But you really have them. The leader is the most unique, and it haunts me every time I think about it. Mu Lin laughed and said, I can't wait to go back and report the lovesickness to the leader. Well, your attitude is quite correct. When you come back, use your feet. Cynthia covered her mouth and smiled. After interrupting a few words, Cynthia also pulled back to the main topic. In a few days, it will be the annual Lily of the Valley conference. At that time, I will use the axe of course. This time, Sin Alliance came to me specifically and asked me to invite you to attend together. Are you done with Kanto? When are you coming back? Mu Lin pondered for a while. According to this trend, he probably won't see Giovanni who wants to hide. Since he couldn't see 5.4 Giovanni, there was no need to stay in the Kanto region for too long, so he said directly, there is nothing to do here, and I am planning to go back. Okay, let me tell Sin Alliance that you agreed to attend. Cynthia responded. After continuing to chat for a few words, both parties hung up the phone conveniently. As soon as the phone was hung up, Sabrina happily took out her backpack and began to pack her luggage. With a cheerful appearance, it is as if he regards packing his luggage as a practice of theoretical knowledge learned in the book. 278 If you want to be a Mu Lin woman, you must first be a champion. Sinnoh region, Celestic town. Ziji Vlutel, who was staring at Zekrom, subconsciously sensed a familiar yet fearful aura approaching him. Immediately folded the wings. Loki does not look like a god of destruction at all. Seeing Vlutel's reaction, Calune looked at soaring in the sky in surprise. A yellow figure, from far to near. Calune recognized at a glance that it was Mu Lin's huge dragonite, and cheerfully shouted to Cynthia in the inner room, Cynthia, Mu Lin is back. Here we come. Cynthia walked out the door with a full stomach and a smile on her face. With a bang, the huge dragonite landed firmly on the ground. Mu Lin and Sabrina walked down respectively. Mu Lin. Calune helped Cynthia, who was slightly bulging, and stepped forward together. Mu Lin stepped forward to hug Cynthia, stroked her belly, and said dotingly, during my absence, did the little guy 26 kick you? Cynthia patted Mu Lin's hand and said angrily, how could it be so fast? It's only been less than 4 months. I asked the doctor, and it took at least 6 months for me to respond. I can't wait to feel it. Mu Lin said with a smile. Sabrina has nothing to do these days, so she came back with me. Sister Cynthia. Sabrina, who is carrying the luggage, knows that Cynthia has the highest status among the three girls, and also knows that her position in Mu Lin's heart is unshakable, so she is quite enthusiastic about her. Calune. The reaction to Calune is very normal. Deep in Sabrina's heart, there is a bit of a grudge against Calune's first move. Sabrina. Calune, who has always been elegant and generous, also had dark eyes and simply greeted her sister Sabrina. Feeling the subtle atmosphere of the other two women, Cynthia looked like a mistress, holding the hands of Sabrina and Calune respectively. From now on, the three of us will be a family. The two women looked at each other and smiled. The Ash trio who heard the sound, and Kai Hong, who had been staying in Celestic Town for special training, also went to greet them. Ash brought Pikachu forward and shouted, "Mu Lin teacher, you are back." Teacher. Kai Hong also stepped forward and greeted respectfully. "Mu Lin teacher, let me tell you, during this time, my Pokemon and I have evolved very quickly. This time Lily of the Valley Conference, I am very confident to win the championship. By the way, my Pikachu also learned a special trick from the red Pikachu. I'll show it to you later. And my Blaziken awakened to a new ability." Ash chirped and reported his latest training results to Mu Lin. "Teacher, I discovered the tactics of double play between Charizard and Venusaur. Please take time to play against me." After not seeing Mu Lin for a while, Kai Hong talked more. Mu Lin big brother Dawn kept leaning forward, wanting to talk to the star-studded Mu Lin, but was pushed away by Ash and Kai Hong. He could only stand aside with Piplup in his arms, and muttered in his mouth, "Piplup and I also practiced a super contest trick. Hey, tail glow insects can compete with the sun and the moon. No woman can resist Mu Lin's charisma." Xiaogang looked at Dawn, who was always about to interrupt, and said with a sad voice, "First, the goddess Cynthia, then Miss Calune, and now Miss Sabrina. All the female Shendu were captured by Mu Lin's charm. This world is so unfair. Why is the gap between people so big?" Xiaogang, who is extremely sensitive to matters between men and women, detected the relationship between Sabrina and Mu Lin at a glance, breaking through the relationship between men and women. Dawn, who was unable to talk to Mu Lin, glanced at his mouth and praised, "Mu Lin big brother is personable, knowledgeable, kind-hearted, soft-spoken, powerful, and a good person. As long as it's a woman, everyone likes his flowers." Xiaogang quite agrees with this. Envy is nothing but envy, but he is also infected by Mu Lin's personality charm. Indeed, Mu Lin can be said to be a perfect man. Little 787 Guang, do you like Mu Lin too? Dawn took it for granted. "Of course I like it, but unfortunately I'm too young. If I can grow up quickly, I will also pursue Mu Lin big brother." Xiaogang said leisurely from the side, "Not everyone accepts Mu Lin. Have you noticed that Cynthia, Calune, and Miss Sabrina have one thing in common besides good looks?" "What's in common?" Dawn asked curiously while holding Piplup. "That's them. They are all region champions." Xiaogang pointed it out. "If you want to be worthy of Mu Lin, the prerequisite is to be good-looking and be a champion." Champion. Dawn, who aspires to be a coordinator trainer, said these two words silently. Looking at Piplup in her arms, she seems to be calculating in her heart the possibility of her becoming a champion. 279 Conflict between Sabrina and Calune. Flame tilde. Ash's Blaziken fisted with 3 claws and bowed humanly towards Lucario. Lucario nodded slightly and patted Blaziken on the shoulder. Flame tilde. Blaziken took 2 steps back to open the distance, bent slightly to gather his paws and fists, then punched and raised his legs, demonstrating the moves over and over again. Because Blaziken, like Lucario, has a fighting type, usually during training, Lucario acts as Blaziken's teacher. Lucario, who was watching from the side, nodded from time to time, coaching Blaziken's movements from time to time. Elsewhere, the red Blastoise was followed by the delightful water sport of little Lugia. The giant Dragonite lay comfortably on the ground, and the red Charizard circled around him, and was assigned by the giant Dragonite to send a basket of Oranberry to his side for him to eat and paint. Darkrai's Chenwood eyes looked curiously at Little, who had the same attribute as him. Exchange a sentence or two from time to time. Pokemon are playing happily on the sidelines. Sabrina and Calune were very interested in Cynthia's slightly raised belly, and they sat aside and exchanged secrets about the boudoir. Crimson and Ash surrounded Mu Lin, reporting the results of Pokemon training. After chatting for a while, Mu Lin asked Ash, "Are you confident about the Lily of the Valley conference in a while?" "Yes." Ash clenched his fists, his eyes full of confidence. Pikachu on his shoulders was as confident as Ash. "Yeah." Mu Lin glanced at Ash's Pokemon and nodded slightly. Ash's Pokemon has been scientifically trained and now has strong strength. In particular, Sceptile, Blaziken and other ranks have reached the peak of elite, and are only one step away from the first rank of champion. Coupled with the skin god who is strong when he meets the strong, Ash already has the qualifications to compete for the Lily of the Valley conference. In the time and space of the anime, Ash has a mysterious trainer Dakoto at the Lily of the Valley conference. Even if he fought hard, he was eventually defeated by Dakoto. I don't know if Ash will meet that mysterious trainer named Dacodo this time. Thinking of this, Mu Lin reminded, having confidence is a good thing, but more preparations are needed. because there are still a few days before the Lily of the Valley conference, I will give you a task to make your Pokémon fight against Darkrai and big guys. Accumulate more experience in fighting Darkrai, and think more about how to restrain dragons. Understood. Ash immediately replied respectfully. For Mu Lin, Ash trusts unconditionally. Understand that Mu Lin asked him to do this, there must be considerations. Teacher, I heard that you went to Kanto this time and cracked the rocket's secret base. Kai Hong interjected. Have you met Giovanni? No. Mu Lin shook his head regretfully. Mu Lin is very interested in Giovanni, who is hiding in the dark, but it is a pity that the fate between them did not come true. But looking back, it seemed that Kai Hong had met Giovanni and had fought against him before, so she asked curiously, how is Giovanni's strength? Crimson organized her words, and said, I used to fight against Giovanni when he was the head of Viridian Gym before. Although I defeated some of his Pokémon at that time, I feel that he did not show his full strength at that time. 27. What impresses me the most is that he is very calm during the battle, especially his heart, which is terribly cold. Giovanni's strength is strong, and the Sleepy Party has long known. After all, he is the most talented duo of Yulong clan. But the coldness in Chihong's mouth made him a little surprised. What do you mean by coldness? Crimson pondered for a while, as if looking for the right words, and then said, during the battle, Giovanni had absolutely no affection for the Pokémon he controlled. The attitude is very indifferent, as if Pokémon is just a lifeless tool to him. Well, I see. Mu Lin understood that Pokémon is used as a tool, and this ability Giovanni has brought to the extreme. In order to create Mewtwo to conquer the world, Team Rocket has captured and stolen various Pokémon for experiments. Just as Mu Lin was thinking, the energy in the whole venue changed. A powerful oppressive force seeped out. Mu Lin looked up in surprise. The hostesses who were originally together have separated. Sabrina unleashes Mewtwo, standing on the opposing side of the field. Calune slowly walked towards the other side of the battlefield. The two women put on a fighting posture. Surprised, Mu Lin left Ash and Kai Hong behind, walked up to Cynthia and asked, what's wrong with them? Cynthia said a little excitedly, what else can I do? Battle? Why so suddenly? Aren't you guys chatting just now? Mu Lin asked strangely. You don't understand. Cynthia gave Mu Lin a blank look, and said meaningfully, the battle between Sabrina and Calune is very important to them. Mu Lin found that he was getting more and more confused about the thoughts of Stephanie's. No, to be precise, women couldn't figure out their thoughts. Otherwise, there wouldn't be that song. Don't guess what Stephanie is thinking. It's useless to guess. Support Cynthia on the side of the battlefield and wait for the start of the battle. Is this the Pokémon that Miss Sabrina subdued? Good. So strong pressure. Money is good. Could it be that Pokémon is also a legend? Dawn said incredulously, holding Piplup. Boga Boga. Feeling the powerful pressure, Piplup desperately shrank into Dawn's arms, not daring to look directly at Mewtwo in front of him. Xiaogang said affirmatively, this Pokémon is definitely legendary, and it's a higher level legend than Zapdos, a legend that should be on the same level as Zekrom and Mewtwo. Speaking of this, Xiaogang said with a wry smile, Dawn, if you want to match Mu Lin, in addition to being good-looking and being the champion of the region, you have to add a third condition. That is, you must have a powerful legend. 280 Cynthia, I advise you to calm down! Brutal, come here! Calune, who was standing on the opposite side of the battlefield, waved her hand. Jittery Brutal heard the call, and flew to Calune's side sensibly. Over time, Calune has been able to control the god of destruction Brutal very well. Brutal, I will fight with you later. This battle is very important to me. Calune put away her usual elegance and calmness, and explained to Brutal solemnly. Brutal looked at the small Mewtwo on the battlefield with some disgust, but exuded an aura that disgusted him, and said it was okay. Although Rival's oppression is strong, its strength should not be weak. But Mewtwo is a psychic Pokémon, which Brutal can easily sense. You must know that the skills of the super energy system have no effect on the evil system at all. On the other hand, evil type skills are extremely effective damage for super energy type skills. It is no exaggeration to say that the evil department is the father of the superpower department. Cleaning up 083 opponents is very simple. On the other side, Nakong's attitude is also very serious. Communicate with Mewtwo using telepathy. Mewtwo, help me. I want to win. Mewtwo looked at Sabrina silently, felt her Covet's heart win, and her fingers clenched into fists involuntarily. Mewtwo recognized Sabrina and would naturally realize her idea. And the Brutal in front of her is the strongest rival she has encountered so far. Mewtwo also wanted to touch each other to see who was stronger. Then, together with Sabrina, he focused on focus energy and adjusted his contest condition for the next battle. Mu Lin felt that there seemed to be a low pressure between Sabrina and Calune, and he couldn't help asking Cynthia beside him, are they taking it too seriously? Cynthia gave Mu Lin an angry look, and asked, who do you think will win the battle between them? Sabrina's Mewtwo is a superpower type, and the attribute is restrained by Calune's IP. Mu Lin said realistically. Brutal has a unique advantage. After all, they are at the same level as each other, and they are both the peak of the second level god. Then Sister Sabrina is going to lose? Cynthia paid great attention to Mu Lin's opinion. After all, among the few, the big one is the strongest. Not necessarily. Sabrina still has a chance. Mu Lin thought for a while and said, Mewtwo has the ability to change its genetic form, and can enter the Mega Evolution form independently without the need for Mega Stone. If she can enter the X form, then attribute will also change from a single superpower system to superpowered plus fighting, can equalize the disadvantage on attribute. It's just not so easy to enter the Mega Evolution form smoothly. The next match must be very exciting, Cynthia said with a little excitement. In Celestic Town, she held her baby for too long. Although she is not fighting against her now, it is also very good to experience the eye addiction. You haven't answered my question yet. I feel like they are determined to win or lose. Mu Lin didn't understand what Sabrina and Calune were thinking now. This is not a simple battle. Cynthia blinked. This battle is also related to their status. Status? Mu Lin repeated the word repeatedly, a bit unable to keep up with Cynthia's thinking in this respect. You still don't understand? Cynthia gave Mu Lin an angry look. What a straight man. Leader, just tell me. Mu Lin simply let go, waiting for Cynthia's coaching. It's not because of you, Cynthia explained. Both of them actually want to be strong in their hearts. No one wants to be the third child. And they are both trainers and regional champions, so they choose to use battles to determine who is ranked higher. What did I think it was? Mu Lin breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that there was some conflict between the two women. He joked, in fact, as long as the rain and dew are evenly covered, it will be fine. It's good to sleep together with a large quilt. It's not certain that everyone will be more harmonious if you get close to each other. Cynthia pointed Mu Lin's forehead with her fingers, and said angrily, sleep together? What are you thinking? It's okay not to mention it. Ritama instantly has a sense of picture. Black, white, fleshy, 3 different colors, gathered together at the same time. Not to mention, it's really good. Hey, what are you thinking about? I advise you to calm down. Cynthia squeezed Mu Lin's arm hard. Okay, I'll calm down. He agreed, but Mu Lin's brain is actually thinking about how to realize his grand ideal. On the other side, Ash, who only focused on the battle itself, held Pokédex and compared Mewtwo in front of him back and forth. He muttered, what kind of Pokémon is this? Why is the Pokédex showing question marks? Could it be that my Pokédex is broken? As he spoke, he patted Pokédex vigorously. The same is the Crimson of the Battle Mad, and the focus is entirely on the 2 Pokémon. That Pokémon should be a man-made Pokémon, so it was not included in the Pokédex. I once heard that Team Rocket had secretly created the celebrity foe Pokémon, and Teacher and Sabrina just smashed Team Rocket in the Kanto region. Perhaps this Pokémon is the strongest biological weapon in Legend. Artificial Pokémon. Ash looked at Crimson in shock. Just when he was still about to ask, he faced 2 Pokémon in the battlefield, and at the same time the focus energy was over. The battle between the 2 sides is on the verge of breaking out. Mewtwo vs Little officially kicked off. 281 Cynthia On Covet. This battle is the most important battle ever. I must win. Calune clenched her fists unconsciously, and looked at rival Sabrina with burning eyes. Sabrina, let's get started. It is good, Sabrina replied a little coldly. Her beautiful eyes were full of fighting spirit. Her whole body was adjusted to the best, and she was the first to make a move. Mewtwo, light screen. Mewtwo's hands stretched forward, and the super energy naturally condensed in her hands, and then quickly spread them out. A stream of transparent light screen quickly lay across in front of him, constructing the initial defense. On the other side, Calune, who has an advantage in attribute, chose to attack with a move. Brutal. The wave of evil Ziggy Brutal flapped his wings, and black's evil waves overflowed. Blast Mewtwo with a bolt of lightning. Clang clang. The collision between the black wave and the light screen, soon the transparent light screen formed by the super energy system was swallowed by the evil energy of black. At this time, Sabrina's eyes flashed, and she commanded loudly, Mewtwo, teleport to the back of rival, use Ice Punch. Mewtwo threw away the light screen, allowing the super energy to break through the shackles of space and time, and flashed behind Little in an instant. At the same time, an icy aura condensed in his hand, and he punched out through the air. Calune was not at all surprised by Mewtwo's dodging approach. Before Little was confiscated, her strongest Pokémon was Gardevoir of the Psychic plus Fairy system, and she was very familiar with the fighting methods of the Psychic system. Using the light screen first made me think I wanted to block the attack, but in fact the killing move is an attack from behind, as expected of Sabrina. Calune praised in her heart, and quickly said, Brutal, Ziggy the god of destruction, Brutal, is not only of the evil type, but also of the flying type. Solaceon flapped his wings twice, causing the surrounding air to form invisible but extremely sharp wind blades, meeting the ice punch wind behind him. Clang clang. The sound of the wind blade cutting the ice sounded, and the water rolled up the broken blade. The 2 skills collide with each other and cancel each other out. In the first round of probing by both sides, neither of them could cause damage to the other side. The reactions of both of them are so fast. Cynthia, who was sitting on the sidelines watching the match, looked at the two girls who were in full bloom in the battle with some envy. The wonderful battle between trainers is always so attractive. Sabrina makes perfect use of the speed at which Mewtwo accumulates energy, and the angle of her attack is also tricky. Calune didn't fall into the opponent's rhythm and was able to quickly adjust her tactics. Mu Lin commented on the two women's first round of probing. Then it seems to be evenly matched. Cynthia rubbed her hands nervously, excited. It's not. Mu Lin shook his head slightly, although the first round was a tie. But in terms of situation, Yiltil still has a lot of advantages. In the previous battle, Sabrina used the three skills of Light Screen, Teleport, and Ice Punch consecutively in order to surprise Mewtwo. Even so, it failed to kill Calune's Yiltil. On the contrary, in terms of energy consumption, Sabrina's Mewtwo is at a disadvantage. The evil system restrains the super energy system, making Mewtwo give up the best super energy attack, and can only use other methods to cause damage. And after the surprise in the first round, Calune is already prepared. While Mu Lin and Cynthia were chatting, the battle between the two women was still going on. After the first round of probing, a tactic came to Calune's mind. Yiltil has the ability to suppress the attribute. If he can force the opponent to fight recklessly, then he can further expand the advantage in the attribute. Calune, who made up her mind, said quickly, Yiltil, use Snarl. Ask for flowers. Yiltil flapped his wings, 10 sides held high in the air and let out a piercing cry. Black's evil energy continuously overflowed, covering the surrounding area with a roar. Snarl skill is only 55 points in Alliance's damage determination. It's not a very powerful skill, but this skill has a wide coverage. As long as there is air, rival can be damaged by sound. As long as this skill is not attacking Pokémon such as Electrode, Mr. Mime, or Explode, which can independently block sounds, it will have a good effect. Facing the attack with evil energy, Mewtwo frowned tightly. In addition to dealing with the disturbing screech, you have to be careful of the erosion of evil energy. Faced with a large-scale attack, Sabrina frowned, knowing that she had to find a way to break through. The plain finger directed to Yiltil, who kept making piercing horns in the air. Mewtwo, use Blizzard. The silent Mewtwo gave up resisting the erosion of evil energy. The hands with only 3 fingers were raised from bottom to top, and with Mewtwo's movements, the temperature in the battlefield dropped suddenly. The cold wind rose for no reason. Blizzard, the powerful skill of the ice system, was condensed by Mewtwo. In addition to the icy cold wind, there were also sharp icicles, which swept Yiltil in the air together. At this time, Calune's eyes flashed, and she immediately shouted. Yiltil changed his move. Use Dark Pulse to fight hard with the opponent. Regardless of Blizzard's erosion, Yiltil allowed the black light that radiated around him to attach to his body, forming a black wave and attacking Mewtwo. 282 Cynthia, stop it. Save some face for Sabrina. The blizzard made by Mewtwo bombarded Yiltil with cold air and ice sharpness. The black wave brought by Yiltil also poured on Mewtwo's body. Different from the trial in the first round, the two Pokémon who fought against each other in the second round caused considerable damage to each other. Yiltil Jiang Yang waved his wings, shaking off the broken ice on his body. Mewtwo clenched her fist hard, and the psychic energy melted away the evil energy that was trying to eat her body. Judging from the results of the first collision, Yiltil with the addition of this system caused more damage. Although Mewtwo uses Blizzard, a powerful ice-type skill, it cannot get the bonus of the ice-type main type, and the damage caused by 407 is worse than that of Arnold. As Mu Lin predicted, Yiltil, who has mastered the advantages of attribute, will have a much greater advantage in the skill competition. Calune, who had the upper hand in the battle, further expanded her advantage. Yiltil spread out the dark aura. Yiltil let out a piercing shriek, and waves of haze poured out around him. Haze blocked the sun, as if a black curtain covered the soaring in the sky normal. At the same time, under the shady system, the energy of the evil system is boiling, and the energy of the super energy system is further suppressed. This is the unique ability of Yiltil, the god of destruction. Gaining the upper hand, Calune immediately said softly, Yiltil, use Dark Pulse. Under the addition of the dark aura, Yiltil threw out a thick black wave rudely. Habo looks like a ghost in the dark surroundings. Mewtwo, use Aura Sphere to defend. Natu also shouted loudly. The silent Mewtwo condensed 2 huge energy bombs with both hands, and headed towards the black light fling that was rushing fast. The 2 incompatible energies of evil and fighting collide together, as brilliant as fireworks in the dark night. Don't give rival a chance to breathe. Calune continued to say, Dark Pulse. Yiltil once again formed a black light that kept falling down. Boom, boom. The black waves kept falling, and there were bursts of explosions. With the addition of the dark aura, the speed of Yiltil's moves has been greatly enhanced, and Dark Pulse is pouring down continuously as if he doesn't want money. At the beginning, Mewtwo could barely fight back with the aura sphere that restrained the dark type, but as time went by, the speed of condensing energy has obviously slowed down. After all, the current Mewtwo is not in X form and does not a fighting type, can only keep using teleport to adjust the position. Under long-term defense, There must be flaws. Taking advantage of the fact that Mewtwo had just used teleport and was in a short period of vacuum, Calune saw the opportunity. Now, use Sucker Punch. 0 tilde. With a sharp hoof of Yultle, the red-black's feathers fit perfectly with the pitch-black aura. Countless evil energies enveloped itself, ghostly disappearing in place. Not good. Unable to detect Yultle's position, Sabrina's heart was full of alarm bells. Mewtwo, use Reflect to protect yourself. Mewtwo clenched both hands, and quickly drew from bottom to top. 4 arc-reflecting walls surrounded her from 4 directions, front, back, left, and right, like 4 shields. Ziggy tilde. Yultle, whose aura had disappeared, appeared ghostly beside Mewtwo. Yultle, who was full of evil energy, broke through one of the shields forcefully. Then, he rammed the impact force he carried onto Mewtwo's body. Boom. Caught off guard, Mewtwo was sent flying tens of meters away. Mewtwo, who was smacked down, climbed up from the ground. At this time, her contest condition was very unsatisfactory. Her body was stained with dust, and there were many scratched scars. On the other hand, Yultle, who presides over the dark aura, is still high above, showing the hideousness of the god of destruction. Miss Sabrina, I'm going to lose. Ash, who was watching the match from the sidelines, whispered. Well, attribute suppresses too much. It's hard to come back. Kai-Hong nodded in agreement with Ash's words. Cynthia, who was watching the match with Mu Lin's arm in her arms, looked carefully at the situation on the court, and also felt that the situation was over for that woman. Shaking Mu Lin's arm, Mu Lin, stop the battle. Although the two women have not yet decided the outcome, Cynthia feels that Sabrina's Mewtwo is no longer capable of fighting. If we continue to fight, there will be no surprises. It's better to stop the battle at this time before Mewtwo is completely defeated, which can be regarded as saving some face for Sabrina. Mu Lin, who heard about it, shook his head slightly. Not yet. Why? Could it be that Sabrina's Mewtwo still has the ability to come back? Cynthia blinked her doubtful eyes and injected 3.6 Mu Lin. Maybe. Mu Lin wasn't sure either, but silently looked at Sabrina in the battle. Before the battle, Sabrina judged from Yultle's aura that the strength of the opponent was similar to that of Mewtwo. And as a psychic, even if it is the first time to meet Yultle, he can easily judge the other party's attribute. But he clearly knows that Mewtwo and Yultle have the same order, and also knows that Mewtwo is still at a disadvantage in terms of attribute. Even so, Sabrina chose to fight. There is definitely a reason for her. 283 The reason why Sabrina can't lose. Mewtwo completes the transformation. Repelled and caused considerable damage to Mewtwo. Calune's side has a huge upper hand in terms of Pokemon's own contest condition and the field. Calune and the shady god of destruction Yultle, who was about to merge into one, waved his hand, and had no choice to continue chasing. Come back. Ziggy tilde. Yultle was a little reconciled, but still flew back to Calune's side. According to his violent temper in the past, anyone who dares to compete with his god of destruction will definitely chase him and beat him up. Like that stinking deer with decorate on its head. Calune stared at Sabrina with burning eyes, watching her every move. Even with such a big advantage now, he still dare not take it lightly. The reason why she stopped pursuing her was not because she cared about the other party's face like Cynthia. As another person in the battle, I can deeply feel the pressure of 26 from Sabrina. Sabrina slowly looked at Mewtwo, who was a little downcast. The current Mewtwo consumes a lot of stamina and energy. On the bright side, it seems to be defeated by Yultle, the god of destruction. However, stubborn Sabrina has something to rely on. This battle is very important. One of them is because of the status between Sabrina and Calune. In addition, there is another reason for Sabrina not to lose. This is the first battle with Mewtwo as a partner. If they lose, it will greatly blow Mewtwo's spirit. Mewtwo, this fight is very important to me. Important to you too. Sabrina connects to Mewtwo's consciousness through psychic. So, we all have reasons not to lose. Let's keep going. Mewtwo gave Sabrina, who shared her heart, a firm look. Then he turned his gaze to Yultle, who was staring at the majestic. We can't lose. Sabrina turned on the switch of the superpower in her body, and the invisible superpower poured into Mewtwo's body. Originally, Mewtwo's dry energy was quickly replenished. 2 hearts, 2 consciousnesses began to gather together along with the fetters. Suddenly, a white ray of light descended from the sky as if piercing through the darkness. It fell on Mewtwo. In the white light, Mewtwo's figure was changing rapidly. Mega Evolution. Mu Lin recognized the white light representing evolution at a glance, and stood up excitedly. Never expected that it took such a short time to conquer Mewtwo. Sabrina was actually able to communicate with Mewtwo, thus promoting Mewtwo to enter the Mega Evolution state. What did you say? Mewtwo can also Mega Evolution? Exclamation mark. Cynthia stood up equally inconceivably. Ash, Kai-Hong and others around them all had expressions of shock. When the white light disappears, Mewtwo's appearance has changed. Height from the original 2 meters to 3 meters. The most notable change is that the muscles are strengthened due to mental strength and become extremely impactful. At the same time, her data has also changed. Pokemon, Mewtwo, Mega Evolution X form? Attribute, Superpower, Fighting? Ability, Unyielding Heart, whenever suppressed by rival, will increase their own speed. Level, 89, Level 2 God Peak. Potential, Lower level god. Skills, confusion, disable, ancient power, psycho cut, safeguard, absorption punch, low sweep, focus blast, aura sphere, mental interference, future sight. Exclusive skill, Strike? Contest condition, Huitong integration, closely connected with trainer. Both parties share vision. Remarks, the power is so great that it cannot be calculated. Even tall buildings can be easily crushed. Integrated. Observing that the contest condition column of Megax Mewtwo has changed, Mu Lin couldn't help sighing. It's only been over half a month, and it has reached the level of Huitong integration. Sabrina is indeed the most suitable trainer for Mewtwo. While Cynthia lamented Mewtwo's mega evolution, she was also very concerned about the outcome of the battle. Mu Lin, it depends on you. 230 Sabrina and Calune, who will win this time? Mu Lin supported the excited Cynthia to sit down again, and said with a smile, this time, I'm not sure either. Mewtwo in Megax form has a species strength of up to 190 points, an unprecedented bonus, the highest among all Pokémon. At the same time, attribute has also changed from a single superpower system to superpowered plus fighting. Because of the addition of the fighting attribute, the restraint of the evil system has been evened out. However, Brutal, who is evil plus flying, still has an advantage in attribute. Now the two are almost back to the same level. It's really hard to say who wins and who loses. You don't know either? Then this time is really exciting. Cynthia hugged Mu Lin's arm excitedly, looked excitedly at the two Pokémon in the battlefield, and looked forward to the next battle. 284 The Great War, attracting the three gods of Sinnoh. Brutal Red Black's feathers stood on end, and he drew back his edge, staring vigilantly at the changed Mewtwo. Sensing that rival was different, he got serious. As Brutal's trainer, Calune breathed a sigh of relief because of Mewtwo's mega evolution. This should be Sabrina's last resort. She was finally forced out. I am not afraid that rival is strong, but I am afraid that rival has a backhand that I don't know. Mewtwo. The real battle is about to begin. Sabrina's eyes were white, and she had shared Mewtwo's vision at this time. Mega Mewtwox, who shared her heart, clenched her fist lightly. The space around the fist seemed to be distorted on a small scale because of her light grip. Let's go, Sabrina shouted. Aura sphere. Connect to Brick Break. The attribute transformed Mewtwo condensed two grey energy balls, ahead of Fling. In the next moment, Mewtwo disappeared in place. Speeding up and rushing out, his strong and powerful fists swung towards Eltal. So fast. Calune was amazed at how fast Mewtwo could condense her skills after Mega Evolution, but she quickly adjusted. Brutal, ignore the Aura Sphere, and attack rival with a slash. Brutal, the god of destruction, turns the surrounding wind into sharpened blades, and Mewtwo comes rushing hard. Boom, boom. Two Aura Spheres plus Mewtwo's Brick Break bombarded Brutal's body, and he was forcefully repelled by tens of meters. On the other side, the sharp hair cutter also landed on Mewtwo's body. The two sides completed an exchange of skills. W. Brutal flapped his wings continuously, controlled his figure to stabilize in the air, and let out his sharp hooves. Growl is filled with affirmations of rival's prowess. The relatively calm Mewtwo waved her hand lightly, and the energy floating around merged into her body, replenishing the physical exertion after the collision. Just now, it's our turn. Calune glanced at her Pokémon, and quickly rushed to move. Brutal, Oblivion Wing. Brutal kept flapping his wings, surrounded by the dark aura, firmly lock on the breath of rival Mewtwo. After a short period of accumulation, a light beam of the same color as dried blood shot out with an aura of withering and death. The exclusive skill of the god of destruction, the Oblivion Wing that makes the earth wither and life disappear. Rival made a big move. Sabrina waved her bare hand lightly. Mewtwo, we can't fall behind either. Strike. The silent Mewtwo raised her hand slightly, and with her raising, the law of superpower was reshaped. Boundless energy with a strong sense of oppression, under the traction of Mewtwo, retaliates to the opponent. The energy impact of withering and death is intertwined with reshaped laws. The collision of the two sides caused the space to tremble greatly, and the wrinkled space rippled outward like a lake. Boom! A huge explosion resounded throughout Celestic Town. In the howling wind, Mewtwo and Brutal each occupied one side, and neither of them could do anything to the other. Seeing that the offensive was ineffective, Sabrina and Calune spoke in unison. Brutal, Oblivion Wing. Mewtwo, Spiritual Breakthrough. Withering and Death's dark red beams once again collided with the reshaped law. For a time, huge explosions continued one after another, and the space trembled violently, almost shattering. Dimensions of space. Palkia, who was in charge of the Space Authority, felt the instability of the space, and opened his eyes suddenly. The space over Celestic Town seemed to be whining, and there was anger in my heart for no reason. It is his duty to make the space stable. However, someone is destroying the space, causing the space to tremble. This is absolutely not allowed. Palkia let out a dragon cry and broke the barrier of the space. He was going to teach the bad guys who tried to destabilize the space. Distortion World. Giratina, the big centipede soaring in her own territory, feels the dark matter that stabilizes the world, and it is constantly consumed because it needs to stabilize the space. Raw tilde. It also uttered the dragon cry of rage, opened the dimension wall, and went from distortion world to the present world. Time flows into ever-changing dimensions. How good is it? The steel dragon who holds the power of time also wakes up from a deep sleep. I felt that the water dragon and the ghost dragon left their respective territories one after another. Doubt made a dragon cry. Raw tilde. What's happening here? Why did they all leave their territory? Could it be that Father God has awakened? Exclamation mark. Unknown why, the steel dragon opened the crack of time, and hurriedly pursued the breath and left. The three gods of Sinnoh, because of the battle between Little and Mewtwo, left their respective territories and went to Celestic Town. 285 Dialga. Whereas this, the portal is wrongly opened. Among the second-level gods, Mewtwo didn't hold power, but she was created for fighting. Similarly, Little, who is in charge of destruction and known as the god of destruction, also has super destructive ability. The two Pokémon collided and wiped out the giant ember. In the battlefield, manic energy continued to roar. Little, Oblivion Wing. Ziji tilde. Zhang Yang's Little, savagely shooting a wither beam. Mewtwo, spiritual breakthrough. Mega Mewtwox, who controls superpowers and the laws of fighting, retaliates with the laws. Just when the two women each directed Pokémon to attack rival. In the middle of the battlefield, a different dimension suddenly appeared. A blue and white dragon's head poked out, accompanied by bursts of dragon power. This is exactly the Dia 240 Luca who came from the crack of time to understand the specific situation. Coincidentally, the location where Dialga appeared. It is just in the middle of the convergence of the two energies. Boom, boom. Withered dark red light beams, super energy, and the power of the fighting law all bombarded Dialga's body. Little and Mewtwo, using their respective exclusive skills, welcomed the wave of Dialga together. Raw tilde. Dialga was attacked suddenly, roared in pain, and was blasted hundreds of meters away at the same time. At the same time, two different dimensional apertures unfolded. The ghost dragon Gyratana and the water dragon Palkia poked their heads out one after another, just in time to see the scene where the steel dragon was blown out. Gyratana and Palkia froze and looked at each other. Fortunately, they came slowly, otherwise it would be him who was blown out. Dialga, who was bombarded twice for no reason, immediately became angry. He is the god who holds the authority of time, and the Sinnoh region is the region where he is stationed, and was attacked in the Sinnoh region. Can this be tolerated? Raw tilde. Dialga let out an extremely violent dragon roar, ready to fight with the gangsters. At this time, Mewtwo and Little, who were fighting, felt Dialga's hostility. They were very upset when the battle was interrupted, and they immediately turned on Dialga. Raw tilde. Dialga felt Mewtwo and Little, and was surprised to find that these two rivals seemed to be very strong. Raw tilde. Thunder and lightning flickered in the clouds, and the black dragon Zekrom hidden in it appeared, staring at the steel dragon silently. Raw tilde. Dialga was taken aback. Another guy not weaker than him actually appeared on top of his head. Raw tilde. Sensing the movement of Zekrom and the aura of Sinnoh, Reshiram appeared from the light stone and uttered an impolite dragon cry to Dialga. Raw tilde. Black and white Opelucid from Unova region. Why are they all here? Dialga was completely bewildered. This was more than that. A savage dragon cry resounded through the sky. Raw tilde. The ice dragon Kyurem, who was originally crawling on the ground and watching the battle leisurely, Kaga, was very dissatisfied with the sudden appearance of Dialga, which caused the interruption of the battle. The three dragons of the Tao have never dealt with Dialga and are very dissatisfied with his sudden visit. Why, such a wonderful program was interrupted. Still want to pretend now? Dialga, who had suffered 2 attacks in vain, wanted to regain his position. All of a sudden, I realized that I was locked on by 5 breaths, and I panicked. Totally numb. What is this place? Isn't it Sinnoh region? Sent wrong? Went to Unova region? Exclamation mark. The 3 gods of Sinnoh, the 3 dragons of Tao, Mewtwo, and Little, a total of 8 extremely powerful beasts gathered in Celestic Town. For a while, the whole scene was a little chaotic. When Mu Lin saw the Sinnoh 3 gods appearing here in unison, his expression changed drastically. Could it be that Arceus has awakened? Exclamation mark. So the 3 gods of Sinnoh came to me for help. Thinking of facing the creator god Arceus, Mu Lin couldn't help feeling a little nervous. The 3 dragons of Tao sensed the tension in Mu Lin's heart. Subconsciously thought that the 3 gods of Sinnoh were enemies, so they couldn't help entering the battle. For a time, the entire Celestic Town sky was filled with an extremely depressing atmosphere. Pojatilda, Piplup, who was embraced by Dawn, dodged towards Dawn's embrace in horror. Mommy. Gods fight. Ordinary dodge. Dawn hugged Piplup tightly, which barely calmed his collapsed emotions. Xiao Gang swallowed hard, and looked at the 8 legends in the sky in disbelief. Feeling the oppressive atmosphere, he whispered with difficulty, They won't fight. If so many legends fight together, the sky won't break. Unlike Xiao Gang, the big-hearted Ash saw the Sinnoh 3 gods, and excitedly took the Pokédex to compare and check the information on the Pokédex. Dialga, god of time. This Pokémon is actually a god, but why does he look so cowardly? Kai Hong looked at the legends exuding different auras, and sighed in her heart. Celestic Town, What a magical place. 286 Scarlet read, it's not them who shake the earth, but Mu Lin. The water is shallow and there are many kings, and there are big brothers everywhere. This sentence is used to describe Celestic Town at this time, and it is perfect. All the legends present, except for the ice dragon Kyurem, are the peak of the second-level gods. Especially his attribute of Ice plus Dragon is completely the father of Sinnoh Sand Dragon. Facing the oppression of the three dragons of the town Dialga and Mewtwo, Dialga looked at his two brothers in a panic. Try to get both Palkia and Giratina to help out. Don't let yourself face alone, them. Giratina and Palkia also looked at each other, understood each other's meaning, took a step back in unison, and distanced themselves from Dialga. The meaning is very clear. What you caused Dialga is none of our business. Dialga felt angry and wronged. As soon as I came here, I was bombarded twice, and it still hurts now. These two goods are really not enough. After all, it was born by a father, and the bones are still connected. Drop the chain at the critical moment. Just when Dialga didn't know how to face the powerful oppression of the three Pokémon, an unusually familiar and friendly voice sounded. Dialga, what are you doing in Celestic Town? It's that human voice. Heir of the Supreme Myth Rayquaza. Why is he here? Dialga quickly looked to the ground. Sure enough, Mu Lin was standing there. Just now I was only concerned with feeling the oppression, but now I realize that Mu Lin is surrounded by these legends. Dialga is a little impatient. These guys seem to be all legends that are not weaker than him. How could this human being be surrounded by them? In the spear pillar of Mount Coronet, Mu Lin once led Rayquaza to rescue the three dragons of Sinnoh controlled by Cyrus, and also promised to quell Asua's anger with them. Nothing can happen to him. Dialga flew forward a few steps, trying to pick up Mu Lin. But as soon as they approached, the three dragons of the Tao sent out dragons one after another. The roar was full of vigilance and expulsion. Sensing that the atmosphere was not right at this time, Mu Lin waved his hand. Kyurem, don't get excited, we are all friends. Kyurem took a deep look at Dialga, and retreated behind the Mu Lin. The big brother who took the lead took action, and Reshiram and Zekrom, who were younger brothers, also retreated a little. It's just that the vigilance in the eyes of the three dragons of the Tao has not diminished in the slightest. Sabrina, Calune, take a break for a while, Mu Lin said again. Sabrina and Calune obediently recalled their Pokémon. With the receding of the five legends, Dialga only felt relaxed, but at the same time, his heart beat secretly. Palkia and Giratina glanced at each other, their eyes filled with unbearable shock. This human being has actually been recognized by the Supreme Myth Rayquaza. You can also command five legends so lightly. Mu Lin ignored Sinnoh's three dragons' surprise, and directly asked the question he was most concerned about. Arceus, are you going to wake up? Faced with Mu Lin's inquiry, Dialga, who was closest, replied telepathically, the time for Father God to wake up is getting closer. But there is no sign of awakening yet. Hearing this, Mu Lin stroked his chest and silently breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. As Mu Lin's nervous mood eased, the three dragons of the Tao also secretly lowered their vigilance. The terrible oppression that filled the air dissipated. Since the alpaca hasn't woken up yet, what are you doing here? Mu Lin turned to look curiously at the three dragons of Sinnoh. Represented by Dialga, telling what is perceived. It turned out that the continuous battle between Mewtwo and Mewtwo caused space instability. So the three of you came here to check it out, right? It's all a misunderstanding. Okay, it's all right. Mu Lin understood what happened, and Showdown waved his hand. Now that Mu Lin said so, Zekrom returned to the clouds, Reshiram changed back to light stone, and Kyurem also lazily lay on the ground again. Then what? Sabrina, Calune, you guys continue. By the way, Dialga and you guys simply stay and help stabilize the space. After Mu Lin's adjustment, the misunderstanding was resolved. Sabrina and Calune, back on the battlefield, sent Mewtwo and Mewtwo to start the battle again, and the Sinnoh three dragons silently accompanied Mu Lin and Luanzin, helping to stabilize the space and prevent the space from being destroyed by the battle. Sky in Celestic Town has regained its calm. In the battlefield, as the battle between the two women resumed, the withered dark red light beam and the superpower law continued to collide. Ash looked excitedly at the Sinnoh three dragons who came from afar to help stabilize the space, and said, I didn't expect the battle between Miss Sabrina and Miss Calune to be so destructive that it attracted three beasts. The battle between the two of them is truly earth-shattering. Red and white, Ash glanced. It's not them who shake the earth, it's the teacher. 8 legends, obey him directly or indirectly. Ash scratched his head. That's right. If I have 1/10 of the ability of Mu Lin teacher, Lily of the Valley Conference can easily win the championship. 287 Instilling the idea of sleeping together. The Lily of the Valley Conference was held. In the battle between Sabrina and Calune, the Sinnoh three dragons went wrong in the middle. Even if you restart the battle, there will always be something different. Until the two Pokémon, Mewtwo and Mewtwo, both ran out of energy, there was still no winner. The battle also ended in a draw. As for who is the second child and who is the third child among the two girls, it has not been possible to distinguish. With the end of the battle, Canny and Nata can only agree to decide the outcome next time. At the end of the battle, Mu Lin waved to the Sinnoh 3 dragons, "Goodbye, come often when you are free." Dialga turned around and glanced at Kyurem, who was prostrate on the ground, feeling complicated in his heart. "If you are free, come to 203rd often." In vain suffered 2 attacks, and was pulled to do maintenance work. "Baby is in pain. If I had known earlier, wouldn't it be good to lie down in the crack of time and sleep well? Celestic Town, isn't it? Remember, never come again if nothing happens. Otherwise, you might get hammered again." Hey. Palkia and Gyratana looked at each other, rejoicing in their hearts. Glad they weren't as fast as Dialga. Otherwise, they will be the ones being beaten. But this Celestic Town, it's fine in the future, so don't step on it lightly. There are a lot of big geese here. As the Sinnoh 3 gods returned to their respective territories, the town of Celestic also calmed down. The battle between the 2 women hastily ended. Calune and Sabrina didn't decide the winner, so I just took this opportunity to instill the theory of sleeping together with them. Everyone is a family, and this will also help to connect each other closely. Mu Lin thought to himself. Time is in a hurry, and the past is very fast. In a blink of an eye, it was the day to hold the Lily of the Valley conference. Lily of the Valley Island in the Sinnoh region has gathered a large number of elite trainers. In addition to the local trainers in Sinnoh region, there are also many trainers who have traveled here. The venue where the competition was held was already overcrowded. On the outside of the venue of the competition, the organizer also intimately set up 4 large LED screens for spectators without tickets to watch outside the venue. TV stations all over the country are throwing a lot of money to compete for the broadcast rights of this competition. Just selling tickets, and broadcasting rights sold, made Sin Alliance a lot of money. Coupled with the fact that the flow of people is concentrated in Lily of the Valley, it has promoted local consumption. The much-anticipated Lily of the Valley conference is also a good time for full-eye trainer to come to China. If you can enter the top 10 of the conference, the prize money will be as high as 7 figures. And if you can win the conference champion, in addition to the high bonus, there is also the most important right: the chance to challenge the Region Elite Four and hit the Region Championship. Unlike the conference champion, the Region Champion is the representative of the highest combat power in the current region. It is also the ultimate goal of many trainer trips. Of course, the threshold for this feast of gluttonous battles is extremely high. The trainer needs to obtain at least 8 gym badges in the current region to be eligible for the competition. It can be said to be like a cloud of masters. With the expectation of more than 100,000 spectators in the venue, this Lily of the Valley conference kicked off. In the venue, the lights dimmed. At the same time, it shines in the center of the stage. Host Vivian appeared in a contest outfit with a sweet smile on her face. Immediately bursts of applause erupted at the scene. Vivian held Matt in the wind and said, "Hello, audience friends at the scene and in front of the TV. I am your old friend Vivian. It is an honor to host the Lily of the Valley conference, the highest level in the Sinnoh region." Wow! The applause and cheers at the scene kept going. The twin sisters Vivian and Lillian have participated in many high-level competitions. The calm and sophisticated hosting style, coupled with the pretty appearance, has won the hearts of people in the Pokemon world. Thank you for your applause. Let us give you a round of applause. The guests of this conference. Sinnoh region Bug-type trainer number 1, Aaron. Bertha in charge of the Heavy Rock Ground department. Yuye, who brings Fire-type Pokemon enthusiasm to the extreme. The head of the Elite Four, surpassing the neighboring Dakamatsu. And we are the most familiar as the curator of gymnasiums in various cities. With the lights focused, Sinnoh Elite Four slowly stood in front of the stage, eagerly waving to the audience. Behind Elite Four, a group of gym curators stood in unison. Clatter, clatter. There was another burst of warm applause. After the introduction, Vivian passed her magnetic voice to the whole scene through Matt's wind. Let's give them applause, and invite them to the guest seats. Elite Four and a group of gym curators sat down according to the established positions. The applause from the audience was a little bit weaker. Vivian slightly raised his hand and pressed it down. The audience understood, stopped their applause and looked at Wyan. Cool. Vivian breathed a sigh of relief, and said with a little nervousness, "The guest I'm going to introduce next is the most important thing." To tell you the truth, when I saw the guest list given to me by the organizer, I couldn't believe it was real. Because, this is too exaggerated, too luxurious too. Alright, do not piffle anymore. Let's welcome our heavyweight guests. The audience inside and outside the stadium are all looking forward to it. 288 The brilliance of the 4 region champions is no match for Mu Lin. Vivian glanced at the cards in his hand and took a deep breath. He said, just over a year since his debut, he has already won the title of Kanto region champion. Chihong, who is known as a fighting genius, welcomes us with applause. Clatter, clatter. There were applause and cheers at the scene. The light shone and landed on the side of the stage. Kai Hong, who had always been serious in speech, raised her hand and waved silently. Also from the Kanto region, majoring in Superpower Series 1, developing the potential of superpower Pokemon to the limit, known as the Goddess of Kanto, the newly promoted Miss Sabrina of the Unova region. The light came on again, falling on Sabrina, who had long hair reaching her waist. Sabrina waved to the audience blankly. With the appearance of Sabrina, the warm atmosphere on the scene rose again. Next, let us welcome Miss Carney, who is born noble, and is also the champion of actor, celebrity, and region. Each of her identities has achieved the ultimate 26. Miss Carney is regarded as an idol by countless people. Calune stood on one side of the stage, elegant and calm, showing off her noble temperament, silently waving to the audience. The next one, I believe all the friends present will be familiar with it. That's the local champion from our Sinnoh region, with incredible strength and gorgeous appearance. The well-deserved number 1 goddess, Miss Cynthia. Before Cynthia appeared, the applause and cheers on the scene had already swept the entire venue. A woman with long yellow hair, wearing a black evening dress to cover her slightly raised belly, swaying her skirt and taking lotus steps onto the stage. Cynthia walked out amidst everyone's expectant gaze. With an attracted smile on his face, he waved to the audience. Miss Cynthia. Ah, my goddess. Cynthia, I love you. Just like Raticate loves rice. A large number of fans in the audience were shouting loudly. Although the theme of the Lily of the Valley conference is a battle, decide the champion of the conference. But there are also many fans holding Cynthia's light board to cheer. Cynthia, a native of Sinnoh region, is the most popular among the 4 champions present. After all, this place belongs to her home field. With Cynthia's appearance, Sabrina, Calune, and Red all gathered beside Cynthia. Unlike the Elite Four and the Gym Master, who went directly to the guest seats, they waited silently. Vivian took a deep breath and calmed down her emotions. This Lily of the Valley conference can be said to be a gathering of stars. A total of 4 region champions are here. Such a luxurious lineup is the first time in history. And such a shining Lily of the Valley conference, there is one of the most heavyweights coming. Having said that, Vivian glanced at the card in his hand, and the excited voice was transmitted to the entire venue and inside and outside the venue through Matt. The last one, he has many identities. He comes from Celestic Town Laboratory, a famous ancient history researcher. It is also an inheritor recognized by the Supreme Myth. Single-handedly destroyed the evil nemesis of several evil organizations. In Alliance, Yan's status is extremely high. In the outside world, he is called a legend by countless people. He is Miss Cynthia's fiancé. Let us invite him out with the warmest applause and cheers. After Vivian's voice fell, all the lights in the audience shone on one side of the stage. A handsome, confident man in a dark suit is walking slowly from the backstage to the stage. He is exactly Mu Lin. Following the appearance of Mu Lin, there was an overwhelming applause at the scene, accompanied by terrifying cheers, which almost overturned the entire venue. Countless spectators clapped their hands and shouted vigorously. Covet met this legend. The Elite Four and others sitting on the high platform gave a standing ovation to show their respect. From the moment Mu Lin appeared, all eyes are on him. As Mu Lin walked to the center of the stage, Cynthia took his arm consciously. Calune and Sabrina stood beside him, and Kai Hong stood behind him in a low-key way. Clearly respect him. Even the brilliance of the 4 region champions cannot reach 1/10 of Mu Lin's. Mu Lin, Mu Lin, Mu Lin. The audience at the scene shouted his name very tacitly. The applause and cheers continued for a long time. The contestants who were preparing to go on stage in the background put down their work at the same time, and focused their eyes on the screen in unison. Their eyes were so envious of Mu Lin, who was cheered by more than 100,000 people. Ash looked at Mu Lin, who was watched by countless people, and clenched his hands unconsciously. He exclaimed, Mu Lin teacher, is the direction of all trainers' efforts, and Covet has reached the same peak as him. Xiao Gang interjected from the side. Besides, Mu Lin is what all men Covet becomes. Dawn, who is holding Pickup, has a heart in his eyes. Mu Lin big brother, just like the sun. There is nothing in this world that can block his light. As if he was born, he should be worshipped. 289 The biggest obstacle for Ash to win the championship, Dakoto! Until Mu Lin took the 3 daughters and Kai Hong and sat on the guest table, the applause and cheers at the scene dissipated a little. However, the hot discussion about Mu Lin is still going on. I dare say that this Lily of the Valley conference is the heaviest of all Alliance conferences. 4 region champions are here. This is absolutely unprecedented. What are the 4 region champions? Isn't just one more than them? That's right. Mu Lin is a legendary trainer approved by Rayquaza, the master of soaring in the sky. And haven't you heard that Crimson, Calune, and Sabrina are all gathered in Celestic Town for training and preparing for the upcoming championship ranking match? The reason why they came to Lily of the Valley conference is entirely because of Mu Lin. By the way, have you noticed that the 2 champions, Sabrina and Calune, seem to be very interested in Mu Lin? I feel they seem to be subdued by Mu Lin. Yes. I also think that the way the 2 of them look at Mu Lin is exactly like lovers looking at lovers. No, it's fine if you accept Miss Cynthia, and I won't let you go, Calune and Sabrina. They won't give you a way out. TCH, it sounds like if Mu Lin doesn't subdue them, you have a chance. People are hard to tear down. If I were a woman, I would also be subdued by Mu Lin. Handsome, young, powerful, and knowledgeable. Such a man is perfect. You look ugly, but you think you are beautiful." In the face of heated discussions from the audience, thanks to Vivian being a seasoned host, it took a lot of effort to bring the audience's attention back to Lily of the Valley conference. After introducing the distinguished guests, "We will officially enter this conference. Staff, please, rise to the platform." As Vivian's voice fell, the wide stage sounded bursts of interlaced metal sounds. 20 clearly demarcated battlefields rose up around the stage, and the organizers also arranged the terrain. There are grass, sand, water, mountains and other different terrains in the battlefield, which enriches the changes during the battle. Next, invite the contestants to come on stage and start the audition. A group of contestants entered the stage from the backstage, and under the guidance of the staff, they came to their respective arenas to prepare for the battle. "Okay, the next thing is a wonderful battle. Let's leave the stage to the contestants present." Host Vivian left the stage after finishing speaking. "The battle begins." The chief referee gave an order, and the battles began in each battlefield. All of a sudden, all kinds of attacks appeared in all directions, and one couldn't help being dazzled. For the Cynthia people sitting on the high platform, although this level of battle is still high quality, it has not yet made them watch the battle seriously. The focus of everyone is on the familiar Ash. Cynthia looked at Ash commanding the Pokémon, leaned on Mu Lin's side and said, "This kid, Ash, is making rapid progress. A few months ago, I was an impulsive child who only knew blindly reckless in battle, but now he has become a lot calmer. Commanding Pokémon to fight, I also began to know how to advance and retreat, know when to attack and when to defend. This apprentice of yours has been trained well." Hin Ming fondly rubbed Cynthia's head, and said with a smile, "It's not just Ash, you've changed a lot, right? My stomach has been enlarged by me." "I hate it." Cynthia snorted, and lightly squeezed Mu Lin's arm with her bare hands. It seems that Ash should be the champion of the Lily of the Valley conference this time. When the two were chatting, they were at the audition site. "Ash has defeated rival and returned to the backstage from the battle." "Hard to say." "Look at that trainer over there." Hin Ming pointed to one of the trainers who had also ended the battle. "Oh tilde, he also has a Darkrai?" Cynthia was slightly surprised. "I didn't expect anyone other than you to be so lucky to meet such a rare Darkrai." "Hee. There are also populations," Mu Lin said with a light smile. "It's just a little room." In the original, even Rayquaza has populations, let alone such low-level legends. "That's right." Cynthia nodded and said, "But his Darkrai is far worse than your Darkrai." "In my opinion, it is probably the strength of Elite. Just relying on this Pokémon to win the conference championship is not enough." As Cynthia said, Mu Lin observed through the system's probing eyes, "And this Darkrai only has the strength of the peak Elite." "Okay, not necessarily, maybe he has good luck." "I also caught other legends," Mu Lin said lightly. "He should be the biggest obstacle for Ash to compete for the championship." As far as Mu Lin knows, the trainer who uses Darkrai is named Dakoto. In addition to the Udman's Darkrai, there are also two rare Pokémon, Latios and Latias. "Is it?" "I have some expectations when you say that." Cynthia yawned. "I also have some expectations," Mu Lin replied. "It's just that Mu Lin and Cynthia's expectations are different." 290 Shinji, as annoying as ever. Ash, who finished the first round of auditions, returned to the backstage. Xia Gang, who was waiting in the background, stepped forward and said, "Ash, you performed very well." During the battle, there is a degree of discipline, and all the skills in usual training are used. Dawn, who was holding Piplup, also stepped forward and encouraged, "Ash, you are the first one to finish defeating rival." Ash, who was recognized by Xiaogang and Dawn, clenched his fist with confidence. "This time, I will definitely win the championship." "Come on, I think you can do it." Dawn and Xiaogang both sent blessings. At this moment, a young man with light purple hair happened to pass by. Hearing Ash's rhetoric, he couldn't help but snorted disapprovingly. "Lily of the Valley conference is full of experts. Just now was just the simplest audition. If you want to compete for the championship, you have to go through several fierce battles to be possible. It would be too frivolous to speak bluntly about winning the championship now." The speaker is Ash's nemesis in the Sinnoh region, the Cylinder. Ash turned around and saw the other party, and said, "Shinji, you are right. Lily of the Valley conference is indeed a master of 600 like a cloud." Having said that, Ash paused for a moment, his eyes glowing with confidence. "Maybe there will be a few hard fights, but in the end I will definitely be the champion of this Lily of the Valley conference." "Oh." Shinji obviously disapproved of this. "It seems that it has not changed for a while, and you are confident that you will not return it. Just blind self-confidence is conceit." "Conceit, doomed to only achieve more than fail." Faced with Shinji's sarcastic remarks, Ash was not angry, but took out a treasure ball and released the loaded Pokémon. Flame Tilde. An Infernape with an inextinguishable flame burning on its head and powerful limbs appears. Infernape and Ash are closely connected because of their fetters. Seeing Shinji who once abandoned him, there is no emotion in his eyes. "Introduce, this is my partner and my friend, Infernape. He, Kji, is the capital of my self-confidence," Ash said proudly. Shinji observed Ash's Infernape closely, and really felt the power of Infernape. The surrounding temperature seems to rise with the appearance of Infernape. What's even more commendable is that the aura exuded by Infernape is Yang and powerful. Shinji felt that the Infernape in front of him was somewhat familiar. He couldn't hide his surprise and said, "Is this the Chimchar that I discarded before?" Shinji once discarded Pokemon, which made Dawn, who loves Pokemon, very upset, and immediately mocked. "That's right. You didn't know how to cherish him then. Regret it now." Shinji never expected that Chimchar, who used to be weak and timid, could evolve into a powerful Infernape. Moreover, the strength has become so strong. Compared to Dawn, who was a little excited, Ash may have been influenced by Mu Lin and became much calmer. "Thanks to you, otherwise I would not be able to become a partner with Infernape." Shinji obviously couldn't accept how a weak Chimchar became stronger. It's impossible. He was so weak at that time. Dawn was happy to see Shinji's embarrassment at this time, touched Infernape's head and said, "Mu Lin big brother said at that time that he has great potential. It's just that you don't understand at all, and even question Mu Lin big brother. Now you know how stupid you were." Woodrin. When Shinji heard this name, his heart was full of complicated emotions. During his travels in Sinnoh region, he always heard people talking about Mu Lin. In the past 6 months, Mu Lin has risen strongly at an extremely fast speed, and has been recognized by the highest legend, refreshing people's cognition one by one. If I knew that Chimchar was so strong, I shouldn't have abandoned him. Shinji's heart was full of remorse, but he was unwilling to show his emotions in front of the old enemy. He said bluntly, "It is undeniable that Infernape has become very strong, but the Battle of Lily of the Valley Conference is 6v6. With only one Pokemon, you can't win the championship." "Maybe." Ash smiled lightly and stopped arguing with Shinji. After taking back the Infernape with a baby ball, after finishing all this, he said slowly, "I haven't seen you for a while. You should have become stronger. I'm looking forward to playing against you at the conference. I hope you can last until the battle with me," Shinji said weakly, and walked to the depths of the backstage. Shinji's figure went away, and the calm Xiaogang reminded, "Ash, the competition is coming soon. Don't let Shinji disturb your mentality." Ash raised a confident smile and responded to Xiaogang's reminder, "Don't worry Xiaogang. He can't shake my will. I have been training with Mu Lin teacher in Celestic Town for so long, and I have become more determined." "That's good." Xiaogang nodded with a smile. "Come on, Ash, beat him if you meet him." Dawn, who was holding Piplup, waved his fist towards Shinji's leaving back. "Don't worry, I will definitely defeat him. My goal is to win the Lily of the Valley Conference. I am Mu Lin teacher's student." Ash made up his mind secretly. 291 Fate Showdown, Ash vs Shinji. The audition for Lily of the Valley Conference is a 3v3 battle. After a whole morning, the final round of 64 was decided. Immediately afterwards, the competition for the top 32 will be held. The progress of the schedule is very fast, and the top 16 will continue. At this time, Ash is fighting a rival named Conway. "Infernape, it's time to end the fight. Attack rival Dusmo with the flame wheel." Ash ordered calmly. Flame tilde. Infernape burst out with blazing flames, ran quickly and picked up the speed, rushed to rival at a swift high speed, and slammed a punch. "Damn. Good fast speed." "It's too late to defend. Dusmo use Shadow Punch." Conway also ordered. Tilde. Dusmo raised his purple fist and slammed forward. Boom. Infernape's fist was faster, and all the hot flames fell on Dusmo. Conway's Dusmo, on the other hand, suffered a great loss in speed. Before the attack hit the opponent, he fell to the ground and his eyes were circling. "The battle is over. Ash has won." The referee directly announced the result of the battle. Ash and Conway, both recovering their Pokemon. "Ash, I didn't expect you to see through the plan I spent so much time making so simple. Now you have become so powerful." Conway had to be convinced after the failure. In the previous battle, Ash suppressed his contest condition from the beginning to the end. Shuckle, Licky, and Dusmo were all defeated by Ash's Infernape, completing a 3-for-1. Hee. Ash got rival's boast and scratched his head happily. When traveling in Sinnoh region, Ash and Conway met on the road. As the winner, Ash encouraged, "Conway, you're pretty good too. If I hadn't been training in Celestic Town some time ago, it would have taken a lot of effort to beat you." "Celestic Town?" Conway looked at Mu Lin, who was sitting on the high platform in surprise, and said in disbelief, "You are not training with Mr. Mu Lin, are you?" Ash nodded proudly. "Yes, Mu Lin is my teacher. Usually he taught me how to train Pokemon." His tilde. Conway gasped, enviously said, "With such a strong Mr. Mu Lin as your teacher, no wonder you have become so powerful. I really envy you, Ash." Ash smiled and didn't say anything more. If Conway knew that even Kai Hong, the champion of the Kanto Alliance, also apprenticed to Mu Lin, he probably couldn't keep his mouth shut. After a whole morning of auditions, the top 16 of this conference was finally decided. Next, it will be the most exciting and intense battle feast. Host Vivian swayed the lotus step gently, and said to the audience with a matte style, We welcome the contestants to come on stage with applause. The audience at the scene responded with enthusiastic applause. The top 16 contestants of the conference came to the stage one by one. Some people don't like being watched by the audience, and they are a little cautious when facing the camera. Some people look excited, and the more people there are, the more excited they are, and they have a crazy personality. Ash, on the other hand, came to the stage calmly. If it were him before, he might be both excited and nervous. But after following Mu Lin for so long in the Celestic Town special training, he has already seen strong winds and waves. Lorry gathered in Celestic Town. I have seen it all. Now this small scene is really nothing. Presumably everyone is also looking forward to what kind of ember they will inspire when these 16 trainers collide with each other. Vivian's sweet voice was transmitted through Matt's wind. Next, ask the staff to start random matching. On the big screen, photos of the top 16 were displayed, followed by non-stop rollout. In the end, 2 people pair up with each other as a group. The rival assigned to Ash this time is his old enemy Shinji. Seeing that rival is Ash, Shinji clenched his fists and swore inwardly, "The Pokemon I personally selected will not lose to the abandoned Infernape. Ash, you wait. Later, I will definitely defeat you." And when Ash saw that the next rival was Shinji, his heart didn't fluctuate much. He looked at the trophy that had been displayed earlier. His goal is to lift that trophy with the Pokemon. Ming, who was sitting on a guest seat, had a slight flicker in his eyes. Fate, by inertia, brought Ash and Shinji together. All are developing according to the trajectory of the animation dimension, but the final result is really exciting. In the dimension of animation, the battle between Ash and Shinji is extremely difficult, but in the end, Ash still defeated the old enemy Shinji. It's a pity that at the end of the conference, Ash still lost to the mysterious Dakoto. And in this world where animation, games, and comics are combined, Mu Lin is quite concerned about what the outcome of Ash, one of the protagonists, will be this time. 292 Ash, this kind of trick is not on the table. Lily of the Valley Conference. With the end of the audition, the specifications of the battle began to upgrade. The original 3v3 audition has become 6v6. At the same time, the battlefield also began to shrink, and the originally more than 20 battlefields shrank into a huge battlefield. It is no longer carried out in batches, but only one battle at a time. Congratulations to this contestant named Gongdan, successfully advanced to the quarterfinals of the conference. Host smiled slightly. Let us give our applause to the 2 players who brought us a wonderful match. There were bursts of applause at the scene, not only cheering for the advancers, but also encouraging the losers. Lily of the Valley Conference, as the highest standard competition in Sinnoh region. Every contestant is a strong trainer. 590 screened out the last 16 people from this group, each of whom is an elite. The battle between them is still very entertaining. Next let's compete for the quarterfinals. Ash from Pallet Town, and Shinji. Amid applause from the audience, Ash and Shinji stepped onto the stage one after another, each standing on their side of the battlefield. The rules of the game are 6v6, and Pokemon are not allowed to be replaced in the first 5 minutes. Players from both sides, please determine their starting Pokemon, the referee said from the side. According to the rules of the battle between trainers, the starting Pokemon must be signaled in advance, in order to prevent one of them from developing later and occupying the advantage on attribute. Just when Ash was about to raise the baby ball and signal to the referee to start the Pokemon, Shinji suddenly said, "Ash, your first Pokemon should be Infernape, which I abandoned, right?" Ash heard this, and took a deep look at Shinji. Shinji just wanted to test him. What is the first Pokemon, so as to take advantage of attribute? In order to win, even a small advantage must be striven for as much as possible, although this is understandable. But this little trick, not enough for Hideki. It looks very small. That's right, I plan to start with him. After Ash finished speaking, he signaled to the referee, "I'm ready." The referee nodded, and said to Shinji, King Shinji selected the starting Pokemon. Although Shinji got a response from Ash, he was hesitant to decide to start Pokemon. I kept thinking in my heart, what Ash said should not be true, it's just used to confuse me. Infernape should be his trump card now, and he should keep Infernape's physical strength and choose to use it last. If that's the case, then I can't expose my strength too early. Of course, what Ash said is also very likely to be true, but the probability of this is relatively small. Ash doesn't care about the twists and turns in Shinji's heart. The reason why he generously told Shinji what Pokemon he used for starting. That's because he is confident. Ash is confident that no matter which Pokemon starts, he can beat Shinji. As for Infernape being his strongest Pokemon, sorry, not really. After training in Celestic Town for so long, all of Ash's Pokemon have been improved like never before. Only Shinji knows, only Infernape. It may be safer to choose a Gren who is good at defense. Even if Ash is using Infernape, a Gren, whose attribute is restrained, has Earthquake as a counter. That's right, choose a Gren. Finally, under the urging eyes of the referee, Shinji chose the starting Pokemon. After confirming that both sides have selected the starting Pokemon, the referee retreated to a set, waving a flag and announcing, "The battle begins. Come out, Infernape." Ash flicked the baby ball into the air. Flame Tilda, the elder brother with an inextinguishable flame on his head, makes his debut. What? Ash is using him. Shinji was taken aback. Ash didn't follow his plan at all and used Infernape directly. But up to now, it can't be changed, and Shinji can only throw out his restrained Aggron on attribute to fight. Come out, my carefully selected Pokemon Aggron. Aggron covered in Bbook fell on the ground. As his iron palm touched the ground, it immediately caused a small puff of dust. Pokemon, Aggron, gender, male. Attribute, steel, rock. Ability, heavy metal. Because of the effect of ability, the weight of oneself is increased, and the power of certain skills will be improved. Level, 49, Gym Peak. Potential, Elementary Elite. Skills, Metal Claw, Rock Tomb, Head Hammer, Protect, Iron Head, Metal Sound, Autotomize, Iron Tail, Earthquake. Genetic Skill, Double-Edged Head Hammer. Contest Condition, Normal. Remarks. The thick Bbook armor gives Aggron strong protection ability, but also restricts Aggron's speed. Aggron of Steel type plus Rock type is 4 times weaker than fighting. Ash's Infernape attribute is Fire plus Fighting, which naturally has advantages. Can't let Ash get any closer. Once approached by the faster Infernape, the slower Aggron will be very passive. Afraid that Ash would let Infernape attack first, Shinji took the initiative to speak at the beginning of the battle. Aggron, use Earthquake. 0.2 inches. Aggron's iron palm trampled on the ground continuously, and the ground cracked one after another. In addition to creating a rift attack, it also turns the flat battlefield into a rough one. In order to weaken Infernape's advantage in speed, Aggron's move Earthquake, although it is an offensive skill, is more on the defensive. Facing the continuous approach of the crack, Ash did not blindly use the advantage of attribute to attack, but commanded Infernape to temporarily avoid the light. Infernape, step back and dodge the attack. 293 Dawn. Why do I feel that Ash is a bit like Mu Lin Big Brother? Infernape kept jumping rapidly on the cracked ground, efficiently avoiding the attack of the crack. Apparently Shinji wasn't counting on the large area attack skill Earthquake, which can damage Ash's Infernape. But the entire battlefield, after Aggron's influence, has been messed up. Surrounded by raised rubble. On this uneven ground, Infernape's forward speed can be slowed down, and at the same time, it also brings some disadvantages of slow speed to the cumbersome Aggron. Just when Shinji was complacent because of his wise tactics, Ash's Infernape couldn't attack immediately. But surprisingly, Infernape let out a roar. With a roar of Infernape, the aggressive eyes became sharper, and the eternal flame on the head became more vigorous. Not good. Shinji seemed to sense something. Hastily shouted loudly, Aggron, use Earthquake to attack rival more vigorously. Interrupt his movements. Roar 26. Aggron bulldozes shattered ground frequently created cracks containing energy, which continued to spread indiscriminately around. During the battle, Ash raised the corner of his mouth slightly, and repeated the instruction just now, Infernape, back and dodge. Infernape dodges quickly, constantly dodging the attacking crack attacks. At this time, Infernape did not affect the speed because of the uneven ground. On the contrary, the speed became faster and faster, easily dodging the Earthquake's attack range. Agility is released while dodging the attack. When Shinji saw Infernape, who was as agile as the wind, he had complicated emotions in his heart. 3 points of surprise, 3 points of annoyance, and 4 points of regret. What surprised me was that Ash's Infernape was able to release agility while dodging the attack, and the speed of the movement was completely unexpected. Annoyed, because the Earthquake that was smart just now gave Infernape a chance to use it. Regret, because I abandoned an Infernape with such great potential. But no matter what Shinji thinks, Infernape has released agility completely. At this time, Infernape, the speed is not at all able to keep up with the cumbersome Aggron. Infernape has an absolute advantage in speed, and Ash now gives the offensive order without haste. Infernape, use Flare Blitz. Infernape, who had received the Ash attack order, did not charge immediately. Instead, he retreated quickly, and didn't stop until he reached the edge of the battlefield. Then he roared loudly. His whole body seemed to be covered with a layer of hot flame armor. Bulldoze ground, with both feet strong, burst out with great strength and began to charge. The Infernape in Shinji's eyes is getting closer and closer, and he knows that the Infernape who uses the distance to charge, in addition to the blazing flames on his body, can cause huge damage, but also carries an impact that cannot be ignored. At this speed, there is no way to dodge. In desperation, Shinji could only passively adopt a defensive strategy. Aggron, use Iron Defense to defend. Facing Infernape who turned into flames, Aggron roared loudly, and the Bbook armor on his body glowed with faint white spots. At the same time, the two claws are in the shape of a block to meet the impact of rival. The collision between the flames and the Bbook burst out with a loud bang. Aggron's Bbook armor was burned red by the flames, and he was forcibly plowed out more than 10 meters by the huge impact. Fortunately, Agron didn't lose too much energy. The reason why Shinji dared to let Agron resist the fire-type skills is mainly because the steel plus rock attribute makes up for the weakness of the steel type being purely restrained by the fire type. It's not an attack with outstanding effects. With its high defense, Agron doesn't take much damage. Just when Shinji thought he could take a breather, Ash issued the attack order again. Infernape, use power-up punch. Flame tilde. Infernape, clad in flame armor, hits the ground heavily with its strong hind legs. Taking advantage of the high speed, before Agron could stand still, he quickly approached him and at the same time swung his iron fist. Fiery red fists, like normal raindrops, were printed on Agron's back. Raw tilde. The back was hit, Agron roared in pain, and his body couldn't stop falling forward. Although power-up punch is only 40 points in the damage judgment of Alliance, it is not too powerful. But Agron, who is 4 times weaker than fighting, still suffers a lot of damage. The moment the flame hit rival, it became even hotter. Power-up punch has another function, that is, while hitting rival, it can also increase its own physical attack. At this time, Ash's eyes finally revealed a trace of enthusiasm for the battle. Infernape use close combat, defeat rival. Flame tilde. The strengthened Infernape, the flame armor on his body became more and more hot, and the fierce bulldoze ground, like a sharp arrow normal, rushed out. Constantly bombard rival with fiery iron fists. Clang clang tilde. Clang clang tilde. There was a sound of metal interlacing, and bursts of fire. Agron, who is good at defense, finally couldn't bear Infernape's continuous attacks, and 047 directly fell to the ground and lost his fighting power. If you don't make a move, it's alright, but if you make a move, it will be thunderous. Backstage, Dawn, who was watching the battle through the screen, let out an exclamation. Yeah, damn Shinji, now you know how powerful Infernape is. Xiao Gang also nodded appreciatively. Ash's performance was very good. He perfectly used rivals' loopholes, created a huge advantage for himself, and then took down the opponent in one fell swoop. Ash's calm face appeared on the TV screen, and he didn't show the slightest smug expression because he easily defeated rival in the first round. Dawn, holding Pickup, tilted his head and looked at Ash in the picture. He poked Xiao Gang next to him with his arm. Xiao Gang, do you feel that Ash is a bit like a big brother now? I have known Mu Lin big brother for so long. No matter what kind of rival he faces, he can deal with it calmly. Now in Ash, I seem to see the shadow of Mu Lin big brother. When you say that, it's really a little bit. Xiao Gang also nodded frequently. 294 Ash, the most important lesson I learned from Mu Lin teacher. Shinji stared blankly at Agron, who had high hopes for him. Agron, who is good at defense, unexpectedly seized the weak point of the enemy so easily, and then defeated it smoothly. He couldn't accept it in his heart, but he had to admit that from the very beginning of the battle, Ash had taken the initiative tactically. First, I took advantage of the loopholes in my move and bought time to use agility to increase my speed. That way, whether it's offense or defense, you will have an absolute advantage. Then he even used a powerful skill like Flare Blitz to force me. Then take advantage of your speed, use power-up punch to boost your attack, and finally use close combat to end the battle. Shinji looked up at rival Ash. Ash, your tactics are very ingenious and unsolvable. I admit that from the very beginning, I was led by the nose by you. However, this is only the first round. I still have 5 Pokémon to fight. I will not lose. Ash heard this, but shook his head lightly. Shinji, actually from the moment you asked me if the first Pokémon I launched was Infernape, you have already lost. Because when you ask aloud, you lose your self-confidence. Mu Lin teacher once said that a truly strong person will only focus on fighting. Using some tricks that are not on the table may allow you to gain some advantages in a short period of time, but you will also lose your focus in combat. This is the real reason for your defeat. No, Shinji shouted unconvinced. I didn't lose. You are not worthy of preaching to me. After finishing speaking, Shinji Fling released a baby ball. Come out, my most powerful Pokémon, Electivire. Electricity tilde. A burst of spark flashes, and Electivire appears in the battlefield with crackling electricity. Question mark Pokémon, Electivire. Gender, male. Question mark attribute, electricity. Question mark ability, electric engine. When attacked by an electric type move, you will not receive damage, but your speed will increase. Question mark level, 55. Elite intermediate. Question mark potential, elite peak. Question mark skills, quick attack, thunder shock, charge, swift, shock wave, thunder punch, thunderbolt, thunder. Question mark contest condition, normal. Question mark remarks, it has a combative personality and is full of vitality. When it is fully charged, blue and white ember will burst out violently between the 2 horns. Question mark. My Electivire can definitely defeat your Infernape. As if for proof, Shinji went on the offensive. Electivire, use Thunderbolt. Electricity tilde. The 2 detonator-like things behind the Electivire shot out 2 bolts of lightning respectively. The 2 bolts of lightning merged together, forming a thunderlight about half a meter thick. Facing the strongest Pokémon of the enemy, Ash commanded, Infernape, flamethrower. Flame tilde. Without showing any sign of weakness, Infernape opened his mouth, and it was the fiery flame spit up. The two active energies of flame and lightning collided together, and there was a burst of explosion sound immediately. The invisible airwaves rolled up every gravel on the ground. As soon as the booming sound fell, both Ash and Shinji uttered their voices at the same time. Flamethrower, thunderbolt, flame and lightning collided again. But this time, it is obvious that the flames from Ash's Infernape will overwhelm Shinji's Electivire. After all, in terms of species strength, Infernape's special attack ability is better than that of Electivire. Apparently, Shinji also discovered that the energy fight, Electivire is not dominant, and if you want to fight in close quarters, Infernape, whose speed and strength have been improved, still strongly suppresses the three heads of Electivire. Shinji gritted his teeth and said, Electivire, use Thunder Punch to attack yourself. Electricity tilde. Electivire uses the flashing Spark Punch to move towards himself. Under the self-mutilation, Electivire took a step back. Although Electivire has a lightning physique and cannot be harmed by electricity, the impact of the fist still consumes his physical strength. But this little stamina is a good deal in Shinji's view, because this activates the Electivire's ability, the electric engine. The speed of Electivire increases accordingly. Now, my Electivire and your Infernape, the gap is evened. Shinji stared at rival Ash fiercely. Ash shook his head silently. I don't like this way of making Pokémon hurt myself. There's nothing wrong with pursuing great power, but if you ignore the Pokémon's feelings, it will not form a bond. Mu Lin teacher once said that only when trainer forms a bond with Pokémon can the potential of both parties be activated. You don't understand this at all. Bond? It's just useless emotion. Shinji, the one who got the money, scoffed at this. You are wrong. Bond is the bridge between Pokémon and trainer. It is the basis of forming a partnership. Ash's expression became serious. Just let you see, I learned the most important lesson from Mu Lin teacher. Why? Shouted Infernape. We are one. With this shout, Ash and Infernape's hearts bound to each other began to become one. Flame tilde. Infernape's aura instantly rose to a higher level. The inextinguishable flame was burning fiercely, and the fiery armor distorted the surrounding space. 295 The Intertwining of Fate. Let Ash comprehend in advance. Pokémon, Infernape. Gender, male. Attribute, fire, fighting. Ability, fierce fire. Under certain circumstances, the power of fire skills will be enhanced. Level, 59. Elite peak. Skills, close combat, Mach Punch, Flare Blitz, Flamethrower, Power-Up Punch, Flame Wheel, Fire Spin. Contest condition, Q-Itong integration, closely connected with trainer. Both parties share vision. Remarks, this Pokémon suffered from being abandoned in the early days. After trainer's patient encouragement and healing, he became confident and highly compatible with trainer's thoughts. Integrated. Mu Lin in the guest seat found the change in the Infernape attribute column through the system's probing eyes, and his eyes flashed with appreciation. Pokémon and trainer are integrated into one. In addition to sharing vision, trainer can also experience Pokémon's contest condition from the battle. The two sides become one, to face the battle. According to the development of the animation world, Ash has to travel to the Kalos region and meet Greninja, who is bound by fate, to realize the ability to integrate with Pokémon. The bond with Greninja 827 rises to the highest level, thus changing form from Greninja. Sure enough, it's Ash who likes Pokémon and treats Pokémon with heart. The intertwining of fate made Ash understand the secret of integrating with Pokémon in advance. It's really exciting to see what happens next. In the battlefield where 100,000 people are watching, Shinji felt that Infernape's aura had obviously become stronger, exuding a strong oppressive force. There is also the contest condition with Ash's eyes full of fighting spirit, as if he was a different person. Unbelievable. This just now what happened why did it become so strong? Ash responded to the other party in a deep voice. This is a function of fetters. A bond? Shinji couldn't help but fell into deep thought. Shinji, who has been pursuing the powerful Pokémon, finds it difficult to understand what the bond in Ash's mouth means. Ash ignored Shinji, clenched his fists and shouted, Infernape, tell that blind Shinji our progress. Use fire spins. Flame tilde. Infernape echoed Ash's cry loudly, and spread the unquenchable flame all over his body. The two palms spread outwards, immediately showing off the flames. Several high-temperature burning fire spins launched attacks in different directions. Facing the horrific fire spin siege, Shinji had no time to think about other things, and repeatedly issued the defend order. Electivire, use thunder, control the lightning and attack the fire spin. Electricity tilde. The warlike Electivire felt the powerful flame attack, but he didn't dare to be careless at all. The dazzling thunderlight shone all over his body, and all the energy was gathering. Boom tilde. In the sky above the battlefield, thunder flashed, leading thunderstorms of different thicknesses to meet the fire spin. The collision of these two active energies, flame and lightning, frequently created violent explosions. At the same time, the explosion also caused a burst of smoke. Just as the sound of the explosion fell, a fiery figure rushed out of the smoke. It's Ash's Infernape. Ash's voice follows. Infernape, use Fire Punch. End the battle. Flame tilde. Infernape's body was full of the high temperature of the flame, and the two fists condensed for dazzling firelight. Quickly launched an unstoppable impact, facing the powerful Infernape. Kixi. Shinji responded immediately. Electivire. Use Thunder Punch. It's just that the sound falls, and there is no frequent clanking sound of any electric system. Shinji turned his head quickly, only to see that the Electivire, which he relied on the most, was already out of breath. Just now, he used a move called Thunder with a power of 120 points in the electric system, which greatly consumed his energy. In a short period of time, it is impossible to condense at all. Oops! Shinji's heart skipped a beat. I saw the swiftly approaching Infernape, with the galloping flames, bombarding heavily towards the Electivire. Electricity tilde. In a hurry, Electivire could barely set up his hands to block. The majestic flames cannot be resisted by a simple defense at all. Boom! The powerful impact brought by the flames poured all over Electivire's body, and the huge force blasted Electivire straight out of the wide battlefield. Ash played against Shinji in the second round. Ash won. The referee announced the result of the match in a timely manner. Even if Electivire didn't lose all his stamina, he lost according to the rules. Flame tilde. Infernape clenched his fists and let out a haughty cry. When Infernape's shouting stopped and Infernape's series of eyes looked at Shinji again, there was no fluctuation at all. My strongest Pokémon. Shinji stared blankly at the Electivire who fell to the ground in the distance. It was his strongest Pokémon. From the beginning to the end of the game, the whole process was suppressed by Ash's Infernape. If Agron, who was restrained on attribute, was beaten like this, Shinji would not be reluctant to accept it. However, the Electivire of the electric system obviously has no attribute restraint at all. But even so, it was still so easy to lose. Even if he could deal a little damage, Shinji wouldn't be so hard to accept. The strong sense of frustration directly crushed Shinji's conceited heart. No. I still have 4 Pokémon out of play. I haven't lost yet. Shinji gritted his teeth and shouted, "Yes, I haven't lost yet." Ash shook his head regretfully for Shinji, who was a little stubborn to the point of madness at this time. Shinji, the so-called old enemy. It's ready to be picked off rivals roster now. 296 Ash wears 6 once. Ash, Mu Lin, is my nobleman. The battle between Ash and Shinji is still going on. The two main Pokémon, Agron and Electivire, were dispatched one after another, and both were defeated by Ash's Infernape. In the third round, Shinji chose Gastrodon, who restrained Infernape on attribute. Water plus grounds Gastrodon. Both attributes perfectly restrain Infernape's fire attribute. The huge advantage in attribute. I thought it would save the decline, but Shinji accounted for less than half of it at all. Cheap. Infernape, use Mach Punch. Flame tilde. The imposing Infernape, relying on its high-speed movement speed, circled behind Gastrodon, and swung its powerful fists in rapid succession. Boom. Hit by the fist, the sea beast rolled continuously. Although in size, Gastrodon is much smaller than Agron, but in terms of race, Gastrodon's species strength is lower than Agron's. In the face of Infernape, which has an absolute advantage in speed, it is completely a slow target. Gastrodon, whose physical defense was not high, was knocked into the air, and his stamina was greatly consumed. Shinji was unwilling to be defeated, so he said, "Gastrodon, use the Mach I tilde." Gastrodon spit up a water column about 5 meters thick, launching a counterattack with difficulty. Ash, who took the initiative, said, "It's too slow." After Infernape dodges, use Mach Punch when the opponent's skills are weak. Flame tilde. Infernape, after using agility, constantly jumps left and right in the battlefield regularly. Patiently dodged Gastrodon's attack, then his sharp eyes narrowed, caught the gap after the opponent's move, and immediately launched an attack. Flame tilde. The iron fist slammed towards Gastrodon's face heavily, hitting the opponent's body firmly. Boom. Gastrodon was knocked into the air again and struggled from the ground to struggle for a long time. Gastrodon finally exhausted and collapsed. In the third round, player Ash wins. The referee announced the result in due course. Hateful. Damn it. Shinji clenched his fists angrily. Even Gastrodon, who had the upper hand in attribute, was defeated. Could it be that I'm really going to lose? Shinji silently looked at Infernape, who was adjusting his luck. After 3 rounds of continuous fighting, Infernape's stamina also began to decrease. But now Shinji couldn't be happy at all, because his remaining 3 Pokémon are Poison plus Evil Drapion, Worm plus Flying Ninjask, and Ice plus Ghost Frostlass. These 3 Pokémon were restrained by Ash fighting's Infernape, especially the fragile Ninjask, with its weak defense ability. It is estimated that it will fall down if it is attacked by an outstanding effect. Gradually, Shinji's mentality changed again. From being unconvinced at the beginning, he became a little crazy after 2 consecutive failures, and now he is completely at a disadvantage, and there is even a great possibility that he will be pushed directly by an Infernape from Ash. He has begun to become desperate. The last time I met you, you were just a naive trainer. But now, both your tactics and your Pokémon have become so strong. Obviously I have worked hard to train Pokémon, but why is it still like this? I don't accept it. I really don't accept it. God is too unfair to me. Shinji yelled at Ash with red eyes. Despair has almost crushed Shinji's conceited heart. Ash looked at Mu Lin, who was sitting firmly on the guest seat, and said leisurely, "Shinji, you are right. Ask for flowers. Before, I would have thought of you as a rival to beat until I met the noble person in my life." His words and deeds let me understand how to get along with Pokemon and how to bring out their best potential. It taught me to fight, not to be blindly reckless, but to pay attention to strategy. More importantly, he taught me to treat Pokemon with heart and build a deep bond with them. Thanks to his teachings, I can transform. Following Ash's gaze, Shinji looked at Mu Lin in the guest seat, and whispered in his mouth with a complicated expression, "Mu Lin." "All right, Shinji. The battle between us should be over." Ash withdrew his gaze and said lightly, "The battle is still going on." Shinji can only continue to fight helplessly. Throws the baby ball loaded with Drapion. Scorpion tilde. Drapion's powerful claws glowed coldly, feeling the waves in Shinji's heart, and turned around to look at his trainer in doubt. I don't understand why Shinji, who has always been extremely strict with him and who is engrossed in the battle, is so distracted at this time. It was as if the soul of the whole person had been lost. The next battle was completely one-sided. Drapion, Frostlass, and Ninjask were all easily defeated by Infernape, who was completely dominated by Ash. So far, with an Infernape, Ash completed a 1-6, ended the battle with Shinji, and got close to the top 4 of the Lily of the Valley Conference. In the next semi-finals, he will face the most mysterious and strongest trainer of this Lily of the Valley Conference, Dakoto. 297 Shinji's target is Mu Lin! Backstage at the Lily of the Valley Conference. As the first player to advance to the top 4, Ash broke through rival with only one Infernape, commanded calmly in the battle, and was named the seed player most likely to hit the championship. Now he is surrounded by a lot of reporters competing for interviews. Ash, Lily of the Valley Conference this time? Do you have the confidence to win the championship? Player Ash, I heard that you once trained with several region champions in Celestic Town. Is this true? Ash player, there is a player named Dacodo who uses a rare Pokemon like you to pass the game in a row. What do you think about this? Ash player, you look a lot like the Kanto champion Kai 530 Hong. I heard that you are both from Kanto's Pallet Town. Are you two brothers? Player Ash, how many regions have you traveled? Ash player, do you have a girlfriend? Ash player, reporters have various questions, emerging endlessly. Ash waved his hand to interrupt the noisy reporters. Everyone, don't worry, I will answer each question one by one. First, I had the honor to train with Mu Lin teacher in Celestic Town. Secondly, the trainer named Dakodo is very strong. As for who can win, we will not know until the battle, but I am very confident in myself. Third, brother Kai Hong and I do look a bit alike, but we are not related by blood. Fourth, I have temporarily traveled to the 4 regions of Kanto, Cheng, Hoenn, and Xinxi. Speaking of this, Ash paused, seemed to think for a while and said, "Fifth, I don't have a girlfriend yet." Ash, who lacks experience in facing reporters, thinks that he has answered all the questions, and the reporters will let him go. But who would have thought that the reporters immediately launched a new round of attack, holding out the microphone and constantly asking Ash questions. Not far away, Dawn hugged Piplup and looked enviously at Ash surrounded by reporters. Ash feels like a celebrity now, everyone is focusing on him. Xiaogang said sourly, I really want to feel the feeling of being surrounded by beautiful reporter sisters. In addition to Dawn and Xiaogang, the defeated Shinji is also in the background, silently watching Ash surrounded by the crowd. His eyes kept flickering, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Just when Ash was being asked tirelessly, a handsome young man stepped down from the background. In the reporter group, someone immediately spotted him and exclaimed, "Damn it, it's Mu Lin." All the reporters turned around in surprise, saw Mu Lin appearing in the background, and immediately left Ash behind. Carrying the camera, he rushed towards him, competing to be the first, for fear of being a step behind others. Although Ash is likely to win the Lily of the Valley Conference this year, he is a conference champion. Compared with a legendary trainer, which one is more important? Do you even need to think about it? Professor Mu Lin, may I ask you? The reporters held up their microphones and began to ask questions impatiently. Beat up at the door, Mu Lin waved his hand actively to signal everyone to listen to him quietly. The originally chaotic environment immediately quieted down neatly, and the reporters all looked forward to Mu Lin's opening. Dear reporter friends, I know you have a lot of questions, but the champion of this year's Lily of the Valley Conference will be determined later. I think it's better to let the contestants take a break and adjust the contest condition. For everyone's questions, you might as well wait for the reception after the conference, and then ask them together. When the time comes, I will know everything. Mu Lin smiled and said to the reporters around him, Okay, Mu Lin Professor is right. We all listen to Mu Lin Professor. But Mu Lin Professor, don't run away then. The beautiful reporters shouted out one after another. Okay, Mu Lin smiled helplessly. Even reporters who want to obtain first-hand resources know that now is not the time. Suppressing the curiosity in my heart, they left one after another. Without the focus of the flashlight, Ash can finally take a breath. Mu Lin teacher is lucky to have you, otherwise I don't know how to deal with it. You are welcome. Mu Lin asked Ash, Ash, your main rival in this conference is that player named Dakoto. Are you confident? Mu Lin specially came to the backstage to remind Ash to be careful when dealing with Dakoto. Although before the conference started, Mu Lin once mentioned Ash, let Ash fight against his Darkrai more, and formulate tactics to deal with dragons. It's just that the time was a bit rushed, and Cynthia, who was usually pregnant, had to coordinate with Sabrina and Calune. I don't know how Ash's special training is. Confidence. Ash clenched his 4.6 fist and replied respectfully. That's good. Come on Ash, I look forward to your being the champion of this conference. Mu Lin encouraged with a smile. Okay, I'm the one who was personally instructed by you in Celestic Town. I will never lose face, teacher, Ash said confidently. While Mu Lin was talking to Ash, Shinji, who was also in the background, walked towards them silently. His goal is Mu Lin. 298 Dawn. Mu Lin big brother, he is usually very obedient and gentle. Shinji walked in silently and said hello, Mu Lin professor, hello. Mu Lin turned around and saw Shinji with a gloomy face, frowned slightly, and replied lightly, hello. Facing rival Shinji who had just been defeated, Ash thought that Shinji had lost the match and was unconvinced and wanted to make trouble. Instinctively standing in front of Mu Lin, he said displeasedly, Shinji, what's the matter with you? Shinji glanced at Ash and said, Ash, I didn't come to see you. I'm here to find Professor Mu Lin. You came to find teacher? Ash looked at Shinji suspiciously, wondering what kind of medicine he was selling in his gourd. Mu Lin patted the tense Ash, signaling him to relax a bit. Ash retreated to the side, and at the same time, Dawn and Xiaogang in the trio also surrounded them. Mu Lin said lightly, Shinji, what do you want from me? Shinji bowed to Mu Lin respectfully. Mu Lin professor, I implore you to accept me as an apprentice. 26 I promise that my talent will never be inferior to Ash. With your teaching, my achievements will not let you down. Through the battle with Ash, Shinji found that Ash has changed a lot. And Covet successfully proved his Shinji, so he wanted to learn from Mu Lin. As soon as Shinji's words of apprenticeship came out, he was stunned. Unexpectedly, Shinji wanted to learn from him. Ash and Xiaogang were all stunned. They didn't expect Shinji to come out like this. Dawn, who always disliked Shinji's actions the most, laughed and said, Shinji, when we were in Jiayan City, Mu Lin big brother mentioned that Chimchar has great potential. You didn't believe it at the time, but you insisted that Chimchar was a trash Pokemon, and even questioned Mu Lin big brother. Why, now that you know you are wrong, you want to come to apprentice? You really have a good plan. After being ridiculed by Dawn, Shinji blushed and said, Mu Lin professor, I offended you because I didn't know Chan. I apologize now. After finishing speaking, Shinji bowed deeply to Mu Lin. Dawn continued to output, it's no use apologizing. And you're apologizing to the wrong person. A Mu Lin big brother like you won't take it to heart at all. You should really apologize to those Pokemon you once abandoned. A person like you who only wants to be strong, but ignores Pokemon's feelings. I don't understand what Pokemon means to trainer. I don't even understand the bond between trainer and Pokemon. I advise you, it's better to die as soon as possible. Just as Shinji was about to retort, Dawn didn't give him a chance at all, and kept outputting, and I see that your purpose of apprenticeship with Mu Lin big brother is not pure. You apprentice Mu Lin big brother, just want to become stronger so that you can catch more powerful Pokemon. And then, keep ditching those puny, crap Pokemon you're talking about. Dawn spoke a long list without panting, leaving Shinji speechless. But Dawn didn't intend to let him go. Besides, why do you think Mu Lin big brother would accept apprentices casually? Mu Lin big brother's standards for recruiting apprentices are very high. At least be the champion, so I can get into the eyes of Mu Lin big brother. For a guy like you who has the same face as Mewtwo, Mu Lin big brother can't see you. Taking advantage of Dawn's continuous output, Shinji pointed to Ash and said, he is not a champion, why can he learn from Mu Lin professor? Ash announced confidently at this time Lily of the Valley Conference, I must be the champion. You? It's just entering the semi-finals, you can say that you are the champion of this conference. How dare you? Shinji scoffed at Ash's confidence. Why? Ash said without giving up, I can easily defeat all your Pokemon with only one Infernape. My strength is stronger than yours, and my vision is higher than yours. With my deep bond with my Pokemon, these are the reliance on my final victory. The continuous speeches of Dawn and Ash made Xiaogang on the side also say, Shinji, if you really want to learn from Mu Lin, then the first thing you need to do is understand the rare Pokemon and listen to their voices. Instead of using them as a tool to win, if you really do this, maybe Mu Lin will accept you as an apprentice. But now, you are still stubborn and have no intention of changing. If you are like this, Mu Lin will not accept you as a 693 disciple. Facing the difficulty of the trio and Mu Lin's indifferent attitude, Shinji knew that he was hopeless. Humphrey. Shinji took a deep look at several people, and left without saying a word. Move. You also want to learn from Mu Lin big brother. Dawn made a grimace at Shinji's back. Turning around, he said to Mu Lin big brother, what I just said is right. Is that right? Put it aside for now, what you said just now, Dawn, was really unexpected. I didn't expect that you are quite good at teasing people. Mu Lin laughed. Dawn seemed to be a top on Myoji just now, and Shinji's entire army was defeated by crackling speeches. Even he, the righteous master, only said one sentence. No way. Dawn blinked her big eyes, and grabbed the corner of Mu Lin's clothes with her hands, putting on a shy look. Ordinary people are very obedient and gentle. Mu Lin, big brother, you know. Yes, 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 Mu Lin said repeatedly. 299 Darkrai, this family is too weak! After brutal competition, the final 4 finalists of this conference have finally been determined. Host Vivian held Matwind and said to the audience in a sweet voice, "The next semi-finals, the 2 contestants who will play are the seeds of this conference. These 2 players, they beat all the rivals to the semi-finals with just 1 Pokemon. Let's applaud Dakoto and Ash for their debut." There was a round of applause at the scene, and Dakoto and Ash walked to the battlefield one by one. Please allow me to introduce the Darkrai player on the right. He has a Pokemon, Darkrai, which is rare in our Sinnoh region. The weird way of fighting has given rival quite a headache. So far, no rival has been able to crack his unsolvable tactics. Vivian pointed to Ash, and continued, "This Ash player here. He is very talented in the battle, and he is calm in the battle. No matter who rival is or what the situation is, he can turn rivals' disadvantages into his own advantages." It is rumored that player Ash once trained in Celestic Town for a period of time and received personal coaching from the legendary trainer Mu Lin. What kind of ember will these 2 players collide with each other? Let us try and see. After the introduction, Vivian stepped off the stage amid applause from the audience. Several large LED screens inside and outside the venue broadcast the images of Ash and Dacoto respectively. The referee confirmed the starting Pokemon of both sides, and waved the flag at the camera. Battle, start. Come out, my partner. Here across. Ash took the lead and fling out the baby ball. Here a Tilda, with a sharp horn on its head and a dark blue carapace all over its body. Here across, who looks like a unicorn fairy, makes a mighty debut. Come out, Darkrai! Tilda. Darkrai also followed by throwing the baby ball, and a Darkrai appeared like a shadow. Pokemon, Darkrai? Attribute, evil? Ability, nightmare. When rival falls into a sleeping contest condition, rival's stamina will be automatically reduced. Level, 60, elementary champion, potential, champion peak. Skills, ominous wind, disable, hypnosis, sucker punch, foul play, double team, haze, dark pulse. Exclusive skill, dark void. Contest condition, normal. Remarks, in order to protect yourself, it will make people or Pokemon around you have nightmares. But it is not malicious in itself. At the guest table, Mu Lin looked forward to the match in front of him. According to the development of the animation world, Dakoto is the strongest rival Ash met at the Lily of the Valley conference. Because of the difference in strength, Ash was defeated by Dacoto. Sorry to stop Lily of the Valley conference Final 4. If Mu Lin hadn't come to this world by accident, perhaps Ash would grow up according to the inherent method, and would eventually be defeated by Dakoto. But now, the situation has changed. Ash has become mature after being trained by Mu Lin, both in terms of character and combat skills. Will Ash stop at Lily of the Valley conference? Mu Lin also wanted to know the result. Cynthia, who was sitting next to Mu Lin, poked Mu Lin with her arm, bringing his thoughts back to reality. Mu Lin, this is a rare opportunity. Quickly release your Xiaoda. Xiaoda is the nickname given by Cynthia to Darkrai of Mu Lin, because soon, the crystallization of love with Mu Lin will be born. During this time, Cynthia began to study, and wanted to name the baby in her belly. Coincidentally, only Darkrai does not have a nickname in Mu Lin's hand, so Cynthia did her part to help him with a nickname. At the same time, Mu Lin was forced to change her original address. Mu Lin was slightly dazed, not understanding what Cynthia meant. Why did you release Darkly... Xiaoda? Cynthia rolled her eyes, and said with a questioning expression, it's not like you don't know that Xiaoda always stays alone and practices silently. He doesn't like to play with other Pokemon either. He should be very lonely. It's hard to find someone of the same race now, so it's good for you to let Xiaoda meet your own race. In the future, maybe they will have the opportunity to develop. Wouldn't it be great to give birth to Xiaoda and make her dervish Pokemon for our baby? Mu Lin twitched the corner of his mouth. Darkrai has an independent personality and doesn't like to play with other Pokemon. That's just his personality. As for wanting Darkrai to hatch eggs, this seems a little unreliable. After all, clay has no gender and no group. Seeing that Mu Lin didn't speak, Cynthia directly took out the baby ball from his waist and released Darkrai. Then he said cheerfully, Xiaoda, look quickly. There are your kindred over there. A trace of helplessness flashed across Darkrai's chenwood-colored eyes. Xiaoda, what the hell nickname is this? Not domineering at all. He is a majestic nightmare god. If this name is spread out, wouldn't it be shameful? But there is no way. Who made this human being Mu Lin's woman? If you don't like it, you can only cooperate silently. Zhao. Darkrai glanced at the same race who were confronting here across in the battlefield. This fellow is too weak. After complaining, He got into the baby ball disappointed. Forehead. Mu Lin spread his hands helplessly. Ha tilde. Cynthia curled her lips, with a depressed expression on her face. I chose Earl Dervish Pokemon for our baby, but you don't care at all. After speaking, he stuffed the baby ball loaded with Darkrai back into Mu Lin's arms. Pregnant women are prone to anger. Okay, be good. The battle has begun. Let's watch the battle first. Mu Lin could only coax in a soft voice. 300 Dacodos targeted everywhere. His eyes returned to Ash and Dacoto who were fighting. Ash had a warlike gleam in his eyes. Compared with Shinji, Dacoto in front of him is the real rival. Worm plus fighting types here across. Finish defeating Darkrai on attribute. Just be careful with Darkrai's trick that can force consciousness into the dark hole of sleep contest condition. Then my Heracross will always have the advantage. Keep a certain distance, so you don't have to be afraid of the opponent's sneak attack. Ash, who had made tactical planning before the battle, was the first to make a rush. Heracross, use the pin missile. Hera tilde, with a flick of the horn on Heracross's head. Dozens of sharp iron needles were shot out immediately. Darkrai also understands that Ash is the strongest rival he won in this conference, so he didn't dare to be careless. Darkrai, lurk underground to find opportunities. Hiss tilde. Darkrai heard, and melted the shadowy body into the ground. Clang tilde. The pin missile pierces the ground, missing the attack. Do you want to use this trick for a sneak attack? It's useless. I've already learned this trick. Ash chanted. Heracross, use throat chop on ground. 520 Hera tilde. Heracross forcefully inserted the sharp horns on her head into the ground. The sturdy battlefield is as fragile as paper. Immediately cracked inch by inch. At the same time, stone pillars continued to burst out from the ground, cracking in all directions. Although the skill throat chop is a dark type skill, it is not enough to cause too much damage to dark type Darkrai. But the purpose of Ash's release is to force out Darkrai who is lurking underground, preventing the opponent from having a chance to sneak attack. Ash's trick works well. Darkrai was forced out of shape amidst the bursting stone pillars. Heracross continued to use the pin missile. Ash issued an instruction in time. Hera tilde. Heracross shot dozens of sharp needles, facing pin missile, which can have an outstanding effect on dark type Darkrai. Darkrai frowned. Darkrai, use black season. Hiss tilde. A condensed haze gushed out from Darkrai's body, wrapping himself, CGBC, in it. The pin missile that lost the target of the attack also fell through. It's just the beginning, and they fought back and forth twice. Dacoto clearly felt Ash's target. Darkrai can melt deep into the ground's ability, which has been tried and tested in previous battles, but facing Ash, he was easily cracked. This can't help but give him a headache. On the other hand, Ash, who had already prepared for the battle, spoke again. Heracross, use Rock's Blast. Hera tilde. Heracross stomped heavily on the ground, and the broken stones attacked Haze one after another. Larger stones cover a much larger area than pin missile. Even with Haze's cover, it cannot be completely dodged. Dacoto, who was forced to do nothing, had few choices. Darkrai, use Dark Pulse to smash these rocks. Hiss tilde. Darkrai suppressed the surrounding haze, and at the same time transformed into a black cripple, rippling away towards the surroundings. Smash the incoming rock. Although it successfully neutralized the rock's blast of Heracross, but at the same time, it showed its figure because of the attack. Dakoto, you're falling into my rhythm. Ash had a confident smile on his face. It probably won't be long before Rival will choose the most direct reckless due to frequent offensives. That's my chance. Rival showed his figure. It was a good opportunity to attack. Ash naturally would not let it go. Heracross, use the pin missile. Hera tilde. Sharp pin missile, continued to attack. Shadow Ball. Darkrai activates Ash's energy ball. Pin missile. After the interaction of the skills of the two sides, Dacoto felt more and more difficult. From the start of the fight, Ash's Heracross kept a safe distance. Continuous use of skills to harass. On the other hand, Darkrai's frequent evasion didn't give him a chance to sneak attack at all. I can't procrastinate any longer. I can only choose to give it a go. Immediately, Darkrai chanted. Darkrai, use Sucker Punch to approach Rival. Hiss tilde. Darkrai's body turned into a ball of haze, which drifted towards Heracross with the wind. Ash's eyes froze, and he had already read Rival's thoughts. Mu Lin teacher said that once the intention is seen, it will be full of flaws. Heracross, use Horn Attack. Hera tilde. Heracross hit Haze with the horns on her head. It was stuck in a group of haze without substance, and it failed to cause effective damage. Dakoto's face was filled with joy. The Sucker Punch just now was just a false move. At this time, Darkrai was already approaching behind Heracross. Darkrai, who thought it was an opportunity, immediately shouted, Darkrai, use the Dark Hole. Once hit by the Dark Hole, it will be forced to fall into sleep. At that time, it will meet the continuous attacks of Darkrai. And Ash, far from being in a hurry. On the contrary, the smile on his face was even bigger, because Heracross Horn Attack just now was just a false move. He didn't use all his strength when he made the move, but was always on guard against the attack behind him. Heracross, the battle is over. Use Mega Horn, attack the Darkrai behind you. Hera tilde. Heracross turned around quickly, the sharp horns on her head shining brightly. Use all your strength to attack the Darkrai who is releasing the Dark Void. What? Shock was written all over Dakoto's face. He felt as if he had no clothes on. No matter how he acted, Ash could easily see through him. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, link in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.